Good evening and welcome to Pioneer Memorial Stadium in Oregon City for the kickoff of the 2021 football season between the Camas Papermakers and your Central Catholic Rams. I'm Brian Slyke, joined by my broadcast partner James Broadus, and we'll have your call for what we anticipate to be a great game tonight. Central Catholic comes in as a second-ranked team in the state of Oregon. They bring back a lot of firepower from their abbreviated spring season, and they're poised for another league run. Talking with Coach Pine earlier, James, he talked defensively on what this team needs to do. They need to contain the quarterback, Taylor Yanni of Camas. He scrambles well, and they think if they can get in his face and disrupt him in the pocket, they'll have a chance to walk away with a victory. Offensively, though, for Coach Pine and the Rams, they want to pace him, whether it's passing or rushing the ball. They're going to feel it out for the first couple of drives, but then he really wants to put it on the Papermakers and catch them off guard once or twice. And now they certainly have the weapons to do so, James.
Absolutely. When you talk about weapons, Coach Pine is not short of weapons at all. Coach Pine, he's starting a sophomore quarterback, but at the same time, this quarterback, he always gets his quarterbacks in the game. So last year, the quarterback got some time. When you're watching the game, he was just rotating quarterbacks in and out, and he ended up getting Crew Newman some valuable time, and now here he is starting. And you're talking about weapons. Crew Newman has an assortment of weapons. He has Strider Todd Fields out there on the wideout. He also has Zach Grissom, who will play. You'll see him lined up in running back. You'll see him lined up in slot. And then he has Jordan King. Jordan King, the all-everything Jordan King. He has four
Division I scholarships coming in right now. He's got highly athletic receiver for this Rams team. The Papermakers, they're entering as the 17th ranked team in the state of Washington, a new coach at the helm, and Jack Hathaway, and he knows the pressure that comes with the title of being the head coach here. And James, you spoke with him. He believes his team is up for the challenge this afternoon.
Absolutely. He believes that his team is built on leadership and preparation. He said his team is very prepared for this game. He's been a part of the program, although this is his first year coaching. He's been a part of the program for 7 years. He feels real good about his team's leadership. He feels good about his team's energy, and they're extremely confident, and why shouldn't they be? They are the defending champs, and they've been a storied program for years. They are ready to go.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about these two teams, the last time they held a state tournament, the playoffs, Central Catholic won the state title, Camas won the state title in Washington. So two storied programs here, setting to kick things off here in just about 90 seconds here in Oregon City.
And you know what, Brian? To be the best, you got to beat the best. And this is one thing that I have a lot of respect for Coach Pine. He finds good teams to play in the preseason. He's not looking for teams that he can just beat up on. He's looking for teams that will give his squad a challenge. And I can say the same thing for Coach Hathaway and the Papermakers. Interesting
storyline to keep in mind. No Oregon team has beaten this Camas football squad in about the last 10 years. So Central Catholic trying to change that this time around.
See, and a lot of teams would not step up to that challenge. Understanding that situation, that record, in the last 10 years, they haven't lost to an Oregon team. So a lot of teams would probably run from that challenge, but not Coach Pine and his Central Catholic Rams.
Well, the Rams set to receive the opening kickoff for the 2021 season. Back to receive the kicker, Strider Todd Fields, who you just talked about, James. And then Timmy Mitchell, the second man back to receive the kick.
You got to keep your eye on Timmy Mitchell, too. He's a sophomore. He's going to be a playmaker. And if he's not already right now, he's going to be a playmaker. So this, now I like to take a look at these kickoffs because a lot of times people don't really understand how important the kickoff is. Field position, you have two guys back there that once they touch the ball can take it to the house. This is going to be a big part of the game as well.
You're looking at the starters. You just talked about Timmy Mitchell and then also Crew Newman, two sophomores for this Rams team that Coach Pine thinks very highly of. And to have a sophomore leading your varsity squad, you have to have a lot of trust in that young man.
Yes, you do. And you have to really trust in your preparation of your program. Trust in your program. And like I said, he has got him some minutes throughout the season last year. He understands what he can do, what Crew can do, and I think he feels real confident about having him out there in this big game.
And it looks like we're delayed because there's no padding on the field goal posts. They forgot to put those on before the game is kicked off, so we're having that run out here at the last minute. We haven't kicked off the 2021 season yet.
Well, you say ran out there, but not very fastly, I might add.
The man over here on our right was given a bit more of a hustle. There we go. We're getting some high steps over here on the left-hand side.
Yes. The referees, man, the referee's job is never done. Now they're putting pass on the goal post.
We talked about the firepower for this Rams team. In that abbreviated spring season, they went 5-1, and they're returning 17 starters from that spring team, 27 letter winners. And, you know, they have all the power to do the right things. Perhaps another chance at a state title run. I know some people are thinking about that, and, you know, kickoff just a few moments away. We'll see what they're made of.
Right. And I didn't even mention all the weapons. I didn't even get to talk about 6'7" Riley Williams. You know, it's tight end, plays defense as well. And then you got Imarion Winston, who comes from a long line of football players going on to Oregon, brothers at Oregon, played at Oregon, UCLA. So they have a lot of weapons and guys that, again, the backups. And you'll see Coach Pine, he loves to get guys involved in the game early. So he moves that ball around, he spreads the ball around, I should say, and he gets guys involved. And I think this is one of the reasons why players love playing for him.
I was going to say, yeah, the reason why there are so many weapons is because they spread the ball around so much between everybody. As now we are finally ready to get the kickoff here.
It's a beautiful day out here too, Brian.
.79 degrees and sunny. Virtually no clouds overhead. Matthew Gerardo set to start off the 2021 football season here in Oregon. Papermakers, Rams. Strider Todd Fields with it. Big opening up the middle of the field. He's got a few blockers out in front of it. One man to beat. There's nobody out in front of him. Down the sideline. The 30, the 20, the 10. A touchdown on the opening kickoff of the 2021 football season. But hold on, everybody. There's a flag back at the Central Catholic 46-yard line on the far side of the field.
Brian, we talked about it to start the game. These guys are weapons back there. Strider Todd Field, he caught the ball at the 1-yard line, essentially at the goal line, took it back 100 yards for the touchdown. We'll wait to see what this flag is. But that special teams is going to be a big part of this game.
We'll see what the call is as the referee.
Hope you can read lips.
Bit hard from this far away. As we're up in the press box,
like
but it looks like they picked up that flag, and you've got yourself a 100-yard kick return.
I think the flag fell out of his pocket, to be honest with you. I was watching them when the flag came out. I happened to see it, and there was really nothing happening on that side. I thought maybe they threw it on the sideline for some reason, but there was nothing happening on that side of the play when that flag fell out. What a way to start the season.
Absolutely. 100-yard kick return by Strider Todd Fields. And if you're Crew Newman, that's an easy way to start off the varsity season. Didn't even have to get off the sideline, and your team's already up 6-0, trying to go up 7-0 with Asher Weiskell trying to attempt the point after touchdown. Kick is up, and it's through the uprights, and the Rams out to an early 7-0 lead. And if you're Coach Hathaway, not how you wanted the start of the year to go. Literally first play on the kickoff, returned for a touchdown. And, you know, I was at practice earlier this week. They were working on their special teams, talking about how Central Catholic gets back, sets up their wedge that they have back there. And they had that opening up the middle of the field. And Strider Todd Fields, again, returning it back for that touchdown.
Right, no matter how good your weapons are back there, the deep guys to return, they can't make a 100-yard return without great blocking. And you talked about that wedge. There was a hole I could have ran through that hole that was built right there in the middle of the field. And Strider Todd Fields used that speed. You could see it. And once he got past that first line of defense, it was a wrap.
Yeah, the kicker, Matthew Gerardo, didn't stand much of a chance.
Oh, no.
Took a bad angle trying to take down Strider Todd Fields.
Even at the high school level, you will never hear the end of it if you get stopped by a
Taken
kicker.
down by the
If
kicker.
you get taken down by a kicker, you will never hear the end of it. And I'm sure Strider Todd Fields was not going to allow himself to get taken down by the kicker.
Connor Limnell and Zach Blair back to receive the kick.
Looks like the penalty was assessed after the touchdown. They
Okay.
backed him up to 25. Must have been unsportsmanlike conduct.
Or maybe a sideline infraction.
Yeah.
I could not. And then we have it. Unsportsmanlike conduct was the call on the Rams.
Maybe Strider Todd Fields was running too fast. You know, that's unsportsmanlike. You don't have to run
Well,
that fast.
everything's a flag in the NFL now. You know,
Right.
you can't show any type of emotion. It's Asher Weiskell kicking off for the Rams. This one will skip across the turf. Zach Blair picking it up. Trying to take it up in the middle of the field, and he'll be taken down by number 19, Blake Anderson.
You can see that the Rams sort of executed a squib kick. You know, they understand the weapons that Papermakers have as well, and the good blocking scheme that they have on their special team. So they're not gonna. Looks like their decision is to not kick it deep and not let them get that full head of steam ahead and try to return it again right back at them.
Well, Camas, their last time they had a full season, they won the 4A state title. They went 5-1 last season, and you know, I talked about no team in Oregon has beaten Camas in the last 10 years. Here's a handoff up the middle. John Schultz will be taken down. It's to be a pickup of about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6.
And they're right back up at the line of scrimmage, ready to go again.
Starting on the offensive line for the Papermakers, Carson Osmus, Noah Christensen, Tyson Jacobson, Tristan Curl, as there's a run on the left side, met by a bunch of Rams. Minimal pickup of about 2. It'll be 3rd and 4. And to round out the rest of that offensive line, William Wood getting the start at the right tackle. Starting at quarterback for the Papermakers, it's Taylor Yanni. The wide receivers, Connor Murphy and Nathan Criddle. Zach Blair will be your slot man. John Schultz is the running back. And Sam Stark is getting the start at tight end. And this type of offense, we're probably going to be seeing it on both sides. The spread no-huddle offense. A blitz on the far side. Yanni wrapped up in the backfield, and that'll be a sack. Brought down by number 21, Gavin Jackson.
You called it, a blitz right there off the edge, and he came in there. It looked like he was untouched. There was nothing that Tyler Yanni was going to be able to do with that type of pressure right there.
Coach Pine talked about bringing that pressure, disturbing Yanni in the pocket. Did it just right there. And it'll be 4th and 10 now for the Papermakers.
So far, Coach Pine has to be excited or happy about his execution, defensively and on special teams.
Timmy Mitchell back to receive the punt. Matthew Gerardo back to punt for the Papermakers.
Timmy Mitchell, I'm sure he can't wait to get the ball in his hands.
No pressure on the punt. Mitchell will take it at the 28-yard line on the run. Gets away from a couple of defenders. Goes to the wide side of the field. Trying to get away from a defender, and he'll be met up by a couple of the Papermakers. Number 51, Anthony Duma. Number 61, Tyson Jacobson in on the tackle.
Mitchell was trying to, as we say, trying to move the crowd. He ran to the left, he ran to the right, trying to make something out of nothing. I think as he gets older, he'll understand, just take what the defense will give you, get you good yards, and then live to see another day.
All the Camas Papermakers in all white with the white helmets, and the Papermaker on the side. Central Catholic Rams in their maroon uniforms, maroon pants, and the maroon helmet with the gold double C on their helmets. As the sophomore Crew Newman out there to take his first snap of the varsity season. Already working with a 7-0 lead. Pass on the first play over the middle into double coverage. Broken up by number 12, Luke Jamison, and number 7, Mark Thorkelson.
Looking for Zach Grisham right there. And we talked about at the start of the game, Zach Grisham lines up all over the place. Right there, he was lined up as a slot. Tried to hit him on a hot slant, but very good defense.
Talked about Jordan King. He's the wide receiver on the near side right now.
Better know where he is.
Going up against Zach Blair. Play action to King. Goes up contested, makes the catch over Blair. Looks to be a pickup of about 8 yards. It'll be 3rd and 2. The front line for the Rams, Bo Cressal on the left tackle, Luca Rodarte, Maddox Carpenter, Joe Merlino, and Garrett Capalonga. The offensive line. Crew Newman, Riley Williams, the starting tight end, Strider Todd Fields, and Jordan King are your starting receivers along with Zach Grisham. Jacob Hardiman in the backfield with Newman. Trips right, screen to the right side. Todd Fields unable to get away, brought down by number 37, John Schultz.
Schultz made a great play right there. It was really just one-on-one blocking right there. Zach Grisham tried to get the block. If he gets that block, there's room for Strider Todd Fields to get up the field. But that was just a great defensive play. Sometimes you just got to take your hat off to the defense. That's one of those times.
Yeah, you talked about almost an open field type tackle, one-on-one. And that's Weiskell back to punt as it's 4th and 4. And it looks to be Zach Blair to receive the punt for the Papermakers. Well, both offenses a quick 3 and out. And Weiskell cannot cleanly handle the snap. End over end punt. It'll land at about the 35-yard line, take a Ram bounce, and it'll be at about the 33-yard line where the Papermakers will take over.
Weiskell did a great job of just being able to recover, pick that ball up, and get it out of there. A lot of times people panic. You drop the ball as a punter, and you see all these big fellas come running at you. Natural instinct is to just save yourself and start trying to run. He picked the ball up and stayed calm and got off a decent punt in this situation.
Well, the last time the Rams defense was out on the field, they forced a 3 and out. We'll get you the starting lineup for this Rams defense. Out on the edge, Timmy Mitchell will be the starting quarterback. Jordan King back there at free safety. Zach Grisham will be the strong safety. On the opposite side is Roan Beaupre will be the opposite corner. So on Sanders as the will linebacker, Gibson Coyle the middle linebacker, Gavin Jackson and Amarian Winston working as the outside linebackers in this 3-4 front. Andrew Thinnell will be your defensive tackle. Your nose tackle is Mael Jones, and Caden Shell is your defensive end. Blair in motion, and a flag out. And we have a false start on Camas. And after the 3 and out, that's not how you want to rebound to start out your next drive. There's a false start.
But you know that pressure that was put on them in that first drive. You've seen that the Rams pretty much controlled the line of scrimmage. So it sort of doesn't surprise you that the Papermakers, those linemen are trying to get off the ball right now.
Trips bunch left. A run to the left side. Taken by Jarius Phillips. And it'll be pushed out of bounds into the Rams sideline. Looks like he got pushed out at about the 30-yard line. And about a pickup of 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 13.
You can see they're really trying to get that run game going right now. They brought in the big fella, Jarius Phillips. And the Rams, you're not going to tackle him with one guy.
No. The play action caught on the outside. And a couple of 10s out there. Nathan Criddle will make the catch, and then Timmy Mitchell with the tackle. And one of the things that Coach Pine really likes about Mitchell is he'll be bouncing on both sides. That's how much he trusts this young sophomore to be out on an island with their best receiver.
Yes, and when you have a corner like you that you trust like that, it can really help your defense out, obviously, but it can cut off one whole side of the field.
Pistol formation for the Papermakers. Play action. Yanni rolls out, and the pass is dropped by Brock Thornburg. And that'll make it 4th and 9 for the Camas Papermakers.
You see Jordan King on that coverage right there. He plays both sides of the ball. That's another thing that we speak highly of when you talk about Coach Pine. His players play both sides of the ball. It'd be easy just to rest him or rest Jordan King or some of your, some of your main weapons on one side. But no, they're going to play both sides of the ball. This is high school football. This is what you do.
Mitchell back to receive the punt. Gerardo punts for Camas. This one much higher than the first one. Bounces at the 34. It'll bounce towards Camas in a Rams favor. And it'll be down at about the 37-yard line on the Rams side of the field, and that's where they'll take over 1st and 10.
Let's see if they can get something going, that first 3 and out. But again, these are usually in the early parts of the year, defense is ahead of the offense, and that's sort of what we're seeing right now. And so points may be a premium in this game. That special team 7 is going to be big. Let's see if the Rams can get something going here. I know that, again, as a young quarterback, the lead and that you can't underestimate how important that kickoff was. Just to sort of calm you down. You're playing with the lead. It takes a little bit of pressure off. You've had a series. So I'm interested to see how Crew Newman handles this second series of plays.
Niall Jones now in at right guard for Central Catholic. Whistle blows. We've got a delay of game on Crew Newman and this Rams offense. And that's tough here at this stadium. It doesn't look good to have a play clock around here. So for the young sophomore, you have to look at that back judge. Yeah. Notice his arm up in the air, counting down.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get placed on the quarterback.
It's a keeper for Newman. It looks that he picked up about 3 yards on that run. On the fake sweep, quarterback keeper. It'll be 2nd and 12. Riley Williams, the tight end, on the far side of the line. Jordan King, the receiver on the near side, along with Grisham out in the slot. Play action for Newman. He's looking deep. He's got a man wide open, and it's caught. Brought in by 19, Blake Anderson, and brought down at about the 20-yard line.
What a find. No, that's a great find. If you checked out Newman, that was not his primary receiver. I think his primary receiver is Riley Williams coming across the middle. He wasn't open. He found his next option, threw a nice strike. Big play, big pickup. So that's some in-game growth right there already by Crew Newman.
Got the deep completion on 2nd and 12. That'll give him 1st and 10 on the 20-yard line. 2 receivers on the near side. First down for either team here in tonight's contest. A handoff up the middle. As Jacob Hardman will pick up a couple of yards. Looks to be a gain of only 1.
I think the Rams really want to try to establish that run up the middle because they feel like they can beat them with their speed on the outside, but if they can get something going up the middle, it just opens up their whole offense.
Well, we got trips left now for the Rams. Riley Williams, the tight end on the right side. Hardman, the running back with Newman. Newman rolls out to his left, got the edge, and a strike to Grisham at the 10-yard line, and that'll be enough for a 1st down, and the Rams will have 1st and goal at about the 9-yard line.
You got to be impressed with Newman. That was a strike. A short, small window. He found his receiver and put it right where he could catch the ball, put it right on him.
And there was a lot of traffic in there, a couple different routes from his receiver, so a lot of defenders there, and you're right. Through that small window, he got the completion. Blake Anderson and Jordan King, the receivers on the near side. Pistol formation, Newman, the handoff. Hardeman taken down in the backfield by number 44, Jarius Phillips. Went right through that line. Didn't even look like anybody got a hand on him.
No. It's almost like he knew what was coming. As soon as that ball was snapped, he was right through that line.
Well, 2nd goal now from the 14-yard line. Rams working with a 7-0 lead. They got that on the opening kickoff of tonight's contest. Two receivers on the right. Riley Williams on the left side of the line. It looks like Amarian Winston is in there as well to block. Quarterback keeper up the middle and taken down by Thorkelson at about the 5-yard line. They'll say he's down at the 6. It'll be 3rd and goal as Newman picks up 8 yards on the play.
Yeah, that was a nice play right there. He read the right, he made the right read, got up the field as fast as he can, get as many yards as you can. You know, one thing about Newman, he's not trying to shake and bake. He's just trying to get as many yards as he can. Took a nice hit, but he bounced back up. You love to see that from your quarterback.
Trips left for the Rams. Williams out on his own on the right side. Big body. You think you could toss up a ball to him.
Yep.
And Newman taken down for a sack. Jarius Phillips again in the backfield.
Wow. No matter how big your receivers are, no matter how much of an advantage you feel you may have on the outside, if you don't get any time, then there's nothing that you can do. Right there, Jarius Phillips just decided that he was going to put his stamp on this drive, and there wasn't a whole lot that you could do. I'm just impressed that he held on to the football.
Asher Weisskoll in field goal formation.
Asher Weisskoll now in the kick for the field goal. It'll be a 30-yard attempt. The kick is up. And it's definitely high enough, and there's a flag that came in. We might have a hold on the far side. The edge rusher looked like number 10, Nathan Criddle, was coming around the edge, and a lineman grabbed him and turned him inside.
Yes, Criddle was getting around that outside, that edge on both kicks. On the PAT after the touchdown, he was getting in there, and you can see right there, he's sort of jumping that snap count, and I believe it's Riley Williams who realized I better grab him or do something because he may get in here and block this.
Well, we just saw Weisskoll easily make that field goal, only 5 yards further back. Well, actually 10 yards further back, excuse me, on the hold. Third penalty on the Rams for 25 yards.
I think Weisskoll has a leg to make this as well.
Here's a 45-yard field goal. That one might have been partially blocked. And Camas had a chance to field that one. And it's down on the ground. There's a scramble for it. Picked up by number 12, Luke Jamison. And he's met by Amarian Winston and a plethora of Rams near the goal line. And there was some confusion on that play. Nobody going for the ball. The 45-yard field goal is no good off of the block. It looked like it was Criddle again possibly getting his hand in there.
Luke Jamison covering for the Papermakers.
Jamison will pick up the ball, and it'll be 1st and 10 now for the Papermakers at their own 3-yard line.
Yeah, that's a live ball. The offense can't advance it into a touchdown or anything like that, but the defense can pick it up and run it back if they wanted to. Looks like Jamison decided at the last minute that I'm not going to catch it, but he may not have known if it touched his hand or not. I don't think the sidelines knew, and so to be sure, he ran back, picked it up, and at that time, there was a meeting at the running back.
At that point as well, yeah, the offense just touches it, and it's basically down to at that point.
But
which they might have had better position. I think it was around the 6-yard line when he originally touched it.
Well, this is high school football. There's going to be a lot of brain freezes in high school football. But the Rams, as you see, they
quick slant. Brought in by number 8, Connor Murphy. And taken down by Mitchell. And it looks to be enough for first down. They'll move those chains, so some breathing room now for Camas. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line.
You know, that was a nice little pitch and catch, but you talked about it a little bit earlier. You see Mitchell's out here. Coach has complete confidence in him. He's out here by himself with no over-the-top help.
Murphy, Thorkelson, and Blair are the receivers. Here's a rush up the middle. It looks to be Jarius Phillips. He'll pick up a few yards, taken down at about the 16-yard line.
King shelled the lead tackle.
It'll be 2nd and 7.
Jarius Phillips is one of those weapons that Coach was talking about for the Papermakers, you know, and he gets stronger as the game goes on. So he's just getting started.
Hand off to Phillips, and the defensive line for the Rams again making things difficult for the Papermakers up front. Phillips couldn't have gotten more than a yard on that carry.
Number 77, Mael Jones, he's sort of making his stamp, putting his stamp on this game right in the middle.
6'4", 340.
Oh, yeah. You're not just going to move him around.
Taylor Yanni in shotgun for the Papermakers. Murphy, the near side receiver, a handoff to Phillips. He's got the edge, and Mitchell coming up and making the open field tackle on the big back. And that'll bring up 4th down for Camas.
Man, I'm impressed by that right there. There's an opportunity right there for you to turn and run or just trip, act like you didn't, like you failed, so you don't have to take on this big fella. He took him head on and brought him down one-on-one.
That was 6'1", 215 going up against 5'11", 170. And Timmy Mitchell who made that tackle.
That's sort of like me and you. I'm the 215. I wish I was 215.
And that'll be the end of the first quarter. The Rams holding on to a 7-0 lead. They scored that on the opening kickoff, and that was taken back by Strider Todd Fields, 100 yards. And what would you take away from the first quarter so far, James?
Well, both teams defensively are executing, I would imagine, how the coach has wanted them to. You know, when you're in the locker room and you're drawing up your game plan, we talked about Coach Pine wanting to corral the quarterback, Yanni, so he's not able to be as athletic as we know he is, and they've been able to execute that as well. The Papermakers on their side of the ball, they've not allowed the Rams to get off any big plays. Well, they got the one big play, but it didn't lead to points, so you can live with that. I think both teams are just really executing their defensive game plan.
I think Coach Pine, what he talked about before the game, what he wanted to do defensively, and that was to get in the face of, in front of Taylor Yanni and upsetting him inside the pocket. And so far they've done that. It seems like he's got some happy feet, unable to really get the ball out when he wants to. And so the Rams defense, again, forcing a 4th down punt.
Right, and both teams are trying to control the line of scrimmage, and we know that in high school football, actually at any level of football, whoever controls the line of scrimmage most of the time puts themselves in the best position to win. And right now it's sort of a stalemate right there at the point of attack.
Timmy Mitchell back at the 45-yard line of the Rams to take this punt. A high one by Gerardo, and Mitchell can't field it cleanly. Picks it up on the bounce. He's back at the 15-yard line and taken down by number 24, Dalton Haas, at the 20-yard line. So the sophomore, mental mistake there, unable to get the clean handle of it in the air, and that'll back up the Rams. And that ball bounced at about the 44-yard line, and now they're taking over at the, looks to be the 19.
Mitchell, what he did was he was backpedaling trying to get a read on the ball, but then he took a look to see where the defenders were to see if he was going to like fair catch it or not. But when he looked back up, the ball had now sailed over his head, and so now he's trying to just go back and make a play. He actually stopped the ball from, it was probably going to continue to roll back, so probably went from good, mistake, then good once again.
Let's get the defensive starters for the Papermakers. Out on the edge, it's going to be Zach Blair at the corner, Mark Thorkelson, one of the safeties, Bradley Prowse, the other safety, and Connor Murphy, another cornerback. Crew Newman, the play action. He's being chased down by a couple of Papermakers. He's able to get the ball off, and it's brought in by Riley Williams at the 32-yard line. Just find the biggest man on the field. He'll come through for you.
Right, when you're in trouble, you know, just like in life, in school, when you're in trouble, you find the biggest man to come help you out. And that's what Newman did right there. He was in trouble, chased off to his left. He threw that ball across his body, threw a nice strike to Riley Williams.
Camas also working with a 3-4 front. You got Brock Thornburg as a defensive end, Anthony Duma as the defensive tackle, and Holt Williams, the other defensive end. We'll get you the linebackers on the next play. Trips right for the Rams. Newman, happy feet, able to get it out to Zach Grisham. Turns it up the field, Thorkelson in on the tackle, along with number 12, Luke Jamison. And that'll be enough for a first down for the Rams. It'll be 1st and 10 at their own 48.
Another one of those weapons that we talked about. You know, we've seen Riley Williams, we've seen Zach Grisham, we've seen a little bit of Jordan King early. Newman, if he can get some time, he's going to be able to find some. He's going to be able to put the ball in the hands of guys that can do something with it.
And it looks like we have a referee's timeout. The rest of the starters defensively for the Papermakers, Jarius Phillips, number 44, the weak side linebacker, with Luke Jamison, the other inside linebacker, Jack Hanley, and John Schultz, the outside linebackers for Camas here, as we got 1st and 10 on the Rams' own 48. They had a drive get deep into Camas territory last time around, and Crew Newman took the handoff, kept it himself, and he's brought down by John Schultz, the outside linebacker coming in off the edge.
You know, you got that RPO, the read pass option, or he's when you go for the fake, I mean when you put the ball in the running back's belly, you want people to go for the fake. They did not go for the fake.
That's the 3rd sack now for Camas. Got Jordan King and Zach Grisham, the receivers on the near side. Williams down on the stance on the left side of the line. Todd Fields, the other receiver. And he gets the reception here from Newman, taken down at the 40-yard line. Tackled by Bradley Prowse, and a flag down in what seemed to be in the backfield where Newman was.
False start.
And we've got a hold on the offensive line. Tough break. A well struck and thrown ball right there by Newman to Strider Todd Fields, and it's called back on a holding penalty.
Yeah, again, for kids on the line, they've gotten their quarterback, they've gotten their buddy sacked a couple of times. So now you're trying to do anything you can to not allow that to happen. Sometimes your hands get happy and you end up holding because you are really just trying to protect your quarterback.
That's the 4th penalty now on the Rams in tonight's contest. And we're only a couple of minutes in here into the 2nd quarter. King alone on the near side. A handoff to Hardman. He's got the edge, a block by Strider Todd Fields. And Connor Murphy will take him out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
He just couldn't get that edge. He kept going, was trying to make some room to turn it up, and just at some point ran out of real estate.
Well, it'll be 3rd and 25.
A lot of teams don't have a 3rd and 25 play, and sometimes they'll just run it just to get out of it. But with these type of weapons, let's see.
Well, Newman will roll to his right. They wanted a throwback to Riley Williams. Newman improvising with his feet, and almost got back to the original line of scrimmage on that run. Bradley Prowse on the tackle. Crew Newman tackled 2 yards shy of the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th and 12. You like the play setup and what they thought they wanted to do on that 3rd and long, but nothing opened up for Riley Williams on the far side. And you have to give Crew Newman credit there for not forcing that pass.
Absolutely. And he took off running, and he made a lot out of nothing. And now he put his team in a position to where you have to think about, do we go for it or what? So those type of plays are going to be big in this game. You know, a lot of people will look at that play and doesn't think that it means a lot. But there's a difference between 4th and 11 at the 47 than 4th and 25 at the 30.
Well, timeout taken by the Rams. That'll be their first one here in the first half. When we came in today, we were expecting a bit more big plays out on the field between these two teams, but the two defensive units have stifled the offenses on both sides.
Right, and we talked about it a little bit earlier too, that defenses are usually ahead of the game at this point than the offenses, and that's what we're seeing. You know, these guys have really good defense. You don't get to be number 2 in the state and number 17 in the state of Washington without having good offense and defense, and this is what we're seeing today. Defenses are standing up.
Well, Newman coming into this drive was 4 of 5 for 56 yards. Blake Anderson, the leading receiver right now for the Rams, as we've got Asher Weiskell back to punt. Zach Blair back to receive the punt at his own 9-yard line. And a flag already coming out. Somebody must have been in the neutral zone. And that punt goes off of number 53, Luca Rodarte, and out of bounds. We'll see what the flag is.
Like you said, the flag already coming out. I mean, that ball had barely been hiked.
Right?
He was throwing that flag.
And it looks like they're talking to Coach Hathaway right now. And
sort of seems like a lot of confusion for a flag that came out immediately. They're trying to decide if they were going to accept the penalty or have them re-kick.
So Camas will take the 5-yard penalty on Central Catholic, and they'll take over at their own 31-yard line.
First down, Camas.
Camas has really been trying to work in that run game. They got Jarius Phillips to get the edge on that last drive, but he was unable to turn it up the field. Timmy Mitchell made that tackle that stopped the drive. And now back there is number 12, Luke Jamison, with Yanni. Yanni, the deep pass intended for number 8, Connor Murphy, as he overthrows his receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Covered out there. Good coverage by Jordan King. You know, the receiver is running a sort of a crossing pattern, but Jordan King was running right with him. You see the Papermakers trying to loosen up the defense. Maybe we can loosen up the defense, take a couple of shots downfield, and I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to the run here shortly.
2 receivers on the far side. Yanni out of the pocket, rolls to his left, and the ball was caught and then popped out on the tackle. Hit put on by Salon Sanders.
Textbook tackle right there, you know. Puts his head on the ball, shoulder right into his chest.
That'll break up that pass intended for Jamison. So 3rd and 10 now. John Schultz in the backfield. Taylor Yanni 2 for 5 passing so far on the night. Here's another opportunity. The pump fake, and now the comeback route's broken up by Strider Todd Fields. The pass was intended for Nathan Criddle on the comeback route on the near sideline. It'll be 4th and 10 for Camas.
3 straight pass plays. You know, they're at this point, I think Coach Hathaway is just turning that playbook over and looking at it from both sides, turning it upside down. He's trying to find something that can work against this Rams defense. Right now, the Rams defense is very, very stingy.
Gerardo back to punt. Timmy Mitchell is standing at his own 26-yard line to receive the punt. 7-0 lead, just under 9 minutes left here in the second quarter. Maddox Carpenter almost got his hand in there on the block, and this ball will take a Camas bounce. And they got about an extra 10 yards out of that roll. And the Papermakers defense will now take the field and see if they can continue what they've been doing and stopping this Rams offense before any real damage is done.
Yeah, both teams' MVP is their punters right now. And every time that the Papermakers have punted, that ball has taken a Papermaker bounce. And again, in games like this, field position is really important. And both teams are starting deep in their side of the field both times. Let's see if they can get Jordan King going in this possession. He's the big receiver. He's the big-time, one of the big-time weapons that they have. And they haven't been able to get him going. I'd be shocked if they don't try it at some point in this series.
King's alone on the far side of the field. Hardman takes the handoff. And he can't get away from the tackler, brought down by Luke Jamison. And it looks like they got him behind the line as well. That'll be a loss of 2, 2nd and 12 from their own 18.
Both defensive lines are winning the battle of the line of scrimmage. There's not a lot your offense can do when you're getting that type of pressure.
Strider, Todd Fields, and Zach Grisham, the receivers on the near side. Jacob Hardiman, the running back with Crew Newman. King on the far side. Newman gets away from one tackler. There's a flag out. Probably be a hold. Gets the pass completed to Jacob Hardiman, taken out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. That is enough for a first down, but again, a flag in the backfield. And you have to think this one's probably coming back with a hold.
When the flag is back there in that backfield, there's typically meaning that somebody was holding. You know, Brian, another thing we're starting to see a lot more penalties as the game goes on. Some of that is due to fatigue. You know, this is the first game of the year. This is a big game right now. These players haven't played in a while, and so you get tired, and when you get tired, you start doing things that you're not really accustomed to doing, and holding is one of them.
You talk about wanting to get Jordan King going. One of the highest praises you can get, his coach Steve Pine said, you know, he's got all the attributes. Probably should be a first-team All-State selection. That's the type of talent that he has out on the outside.
Yes, he does have all the attributes. He's tall, he's fast, he looks the ball into his hands. He's got great hands, he runs good routes.
2nd and 19, Newman from his own end zone. Across the middle, gets it to King. Stiff arms one defender and falls to the ground. And they're saying he was down. Ethan Uchi making the tackle. Jordan King with the completion and a huge pickup. And it looks to be an 11-yard pickup, or 9-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd and 9 from the 19-yard line. 6 penalties so far on Central Catholic for a total of 50 yards. Camas has been the well-attuned team, only 1 penalty for 5 yards so far. Twins on the far side. King, the near side receiver, with Williams down as the tight end. Newman throwing down on 3rd and 9. At the feet of Zach Grisham and broken up by Nathan Criddle. And that'll bring up 4th and 9 for the Rams. And the drive was doomed after penalties again.
Yes, you can't have penalties in this type of a game. A game with this closely matched up, the penalties will hurt you. And it's keep putting the Rams here in a deficit. And then you have Newman have to try to make something out of nothing every time. It's not a good situation right now. And I'm sure when they get in at halftime in these next 7 minutes, they will make some fine-tuned adjustments to that. But Newman, you can see him back there. You can see some of that athleticism that Coach likes about him. He's able to keep the play alive and at least give his receivers a chance.
And one other nice thing that he does is he's keeping his eyes down the field. He's not just scrambling, putting his head down when he gets a bit of pressure. Weiskell just getting this one off. And the ball brought in by Blair at the 45-yard line. And this is the best starting position for the Camas football team all night. They're already on the Rams side of the field. As no doubt, Coach Hathaway trying to get some points up on the board for his squad and get this deficit brought in. They're still trailing 7-0 after that opening kickoff to start off the season.
And, you know, Brian, like you said, this is the best field position that they've had to start the drive. Matter of fact, this might be the first time that they've been on the other side of the 50-yard line. And I'd be interested to see what type of plays they've ran the ball, they've thrown the ball, and none of them has worked so far. So we'll see what they come out with here.
A bunch trips right formation on the right side. Handoff taken in by John Schultz. Shuffles his way forward for a pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Looks like number 54, Andrew Thinnell, on the tackle.
There's just no running lanes. This Rams defensive front are not allowing running lanes to be created.
Taylor Yanni throws a deep ball intended for number 88, and it's brought in by Sam Stark. Down the sideline.
This pass is complete to Sam Stark.
1st and 10 from the 19. Sam Stark bringing in that pass.
It's one of the first times that he had actually, Yanni actually had some time back there. He got some time and threw a good ball. There wasn't a whole lot that Grisham could do with that. That ball was perfectly placed.
Blair and Thorkelson along with the tight end. Stark on the left side. Yanni, the one-on-one, throws the pass near the pylon and unable to bring it in. It looked like Connor Murphy and Timmy Mitchell on the coverage. A well-thrown ball. And near that pylon.
Better coverage. Well-thrown ball, better coverage. Mitchell just kept contact with his body. As soon as Murphy looked for the ball, Mitchell turned and looked for the ball. That would have been a spectacular play, but that's good defense again out there by the sophomore.
Twins left. Schultz lined up on the left side of Taylor Yanni. He's going for the end zone again and overthrows Zach Blair in the end zone. He had his man beat. He had the area. Had he kept that in the end zone, that could have been a completion for 7. Well, for 6.
And what you didn't see was Yanni was getting up off his back after that play, so he had to throw the ball over the top of a Rams defender, and again, that pressure made him throw the ball just a little bit too far. When he has had pressure, he's made good throws, but when he has not had pressure, he has not. Hello, Captain Obvious.
3rd and 10 on the 19. Yanni dropping back to pass. He's got no time right now. And a couple Rams defenders come in, and Gibson Coyle with the sack. The original pressure brought on by Caden Shell, but Gibson Coyle finishing off the play, and Taylor Yanni in the backfield. That'll bring up 4th and 19.
You know, that's what you'll see in film stuff. When you're watching the film, when the Rams are going back and watching the film, Caden Shell made that first, like you said, that initial pressure, and that's what got Yanni on the run. And then it was cleaned up. And so, you know, in the stat books, the sack will go, the name slips my mind right now, but Caden Shell made that first play, and that's what made it able to for them to get that sack.
2nd sack for the Rams on Taylor Yanni. So we've got just under 5:45 left to go here in the first half. Still only a 7-0 lead, and it looks like Camas is probably lining up to go for it here on 4th down. And at this point, what type of play are you drawing up on 4th and 19? Because there's not much you can really do.
Not a lot, but the play when they had one-on-one with Mitchell on the corner a few minutes ago, that was great defense, but you had your receiver had an opportunity to make a play. So if you can find a one-on-one matchup, that's pretty much all you can do at this point is just throw the ball long and see if your receiver can make a play. These Ram DBs, though, they're pretty good.
You have to wonder if maybe if they don't take that sack, maybe they're in range for that field goal. Instead, at least you get some points up there. Blair and Thorkelson, the receivers, along with Stark on the left side. Yanni rolls to his left. He's going to keep it himself. And Gibson Coyle shoves him out of bounds. Yanni rolls into the steel fence. And now we've got flags on the sidelines. Coyle was getting pushed by Noah Christensen, an offensive lineman for the Papermakers, out of bounds. So we'll have to see what that flag is. It will be a personal foul.
Noah Christensen is taken up for his quarterback. You know, I mean, you're going to get a penalty for that, but as a coach and as a quarterback, you like to see your guys come into your defense. He felt like he got tackled out of bounds. He didn't, but his lineman felt like he did, and so he came to his defense.
It's one of those bang-bang plays. You met him in the field of play, and as you're finishing, you know, took him out of bounds. I don't think there was anything malicious about it.
And we talked about that leadership on the Rams. You've seen that. That's easily a play where you respond. And most of the times, the guy that responds
gets the flag.
Gets the flag. But you can see his Ram teammates came over there, and they got him out of there. There was no really retaliation. They take the 15-yard penalty, put themselves in better field position. And those are the things that, again, I keep speaking highly about this Rams football program, but those are the things that Coach Pine teaches, and as you can see, it's beneficial.
Coach Pine has done a great job at running this program since he's taken over. Comes into his 19th season. He's won 56 and 52. 11-time Mount Hood Conference championship, 3-time state champion. And the ball's on the ground. Newman lost it on the fake handoff. And there's a pile down at the 30-yard line. And Newman able to get back on top of it.
Fumble on the play recovered by Crew Newman for the
Might have been some miscommunication there with his back and himself. Either the back was too tight on it or Newman didn't hold it strong enough. As Gavin Jackson is the back with Newman on this drive. Todd Fields and Grisham, the receivers on the near side. Williams, the tight end on the far side, with Jordan King alone. On the far side, high snap to Newman. Looks right. He's going to come up and rush. And a couple of Papermakers making that tackle. Jarius Phillips and Zach Blair upending Crew Newman. But Newman able to get it near the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and 1. And they're actually going to move the ball up 1 more yard. And we'll see if that's enough for a first down. And it looks like it is. So some confusion from the Zebras out on the field.
Thank you, Zebras. And once again, Crew Newman making something out of nothing.
Newman having to scramble to his left, pointing to his receiver to go up the field, unable to complete the pass to Zach Grisham. And Newman frustrated on the field. Coach Pine giving him a look, and Newman hands up in the air, not quite sure what else he could have done there.
The ball, he dropped the ball. Once he dropped the ball, again, he picked it up and was just, at that point, you know, the routes and everything is just a scramble at that point, and he ended up throwing the ball. Actually did a good job of throwing the ball away, considering that he had dropped it in the backfield.
So 2 receivers on the near side, Williams the tight end and Jordan King, the receiver on the far side. Gavin Jackson still in the backfield with Newman on this drive. 2nd and 10. A rush up the middle, hard hit by Thorkelson. But it looked like Gavin Jackson was the one that was laying the wood on that hit.
Yes.
Gavin Jackson with first down.
Thorkelson came up to make a play, but like you said, Gavin Jackson laid the hit on that. Hard hit by Gavin Jackson.
No huddle. And Jackson getting another chance here, and he'll be brought down by number 54, Holt Williams, and Luke Jamison also in on the tackle. Minimal gain of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Gavin Jackson getting a well-deserved break right now.
A couple of hard runs.
Exactly.
As Jacob Hardeman. Now the back with Newman. Williams, Grisham, and King on the near side. Strider, Todd Fields alone on the far side of the field. The high snap. Newman has to roll out to his left. Chase down the high pass. Strider, Todd Fields was crossing and was the nearest receiver, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Some poise right there by Newman. There's nothing there. Sometimes you just have to live to see another down. And that's what he did right there. Just throw the ball away. He's outside of the pocket, so there's no intentional grounding. Take the loss and come back and try again.
Big 3rd down right here. Central Catholic still trying to punch it in for their first offensive touchdown on the day. They lead 7-0. That was on the opening kickoff. Strider Todd Fields went 99 yards for the score. Newman, the fake screen to the left, and it slipped out of his hand. Ball's loose, and they're saying an incomplete pass. What a sequence of events right there. The defensive lineman going in for the tackle, almost coming up with the interception as the ball slipped out of Newman's hand. All of that for an incompletion in 4th and 9.
Right. Newman is having a hard time holding on to this football. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's not weather. It couldn't be any rain. So he's having a hard time holding on to that football. But every time they've been able to get back on it, or in this case right here, they were fortunate enough that it came out his hand off of the incomplete pass.
It's currently 75 degrees here at Pioneer Memorial Stadium here in Oregon City. With it being 4th and 9, Asher Weiskell back to punt. Zach Blair to receive the punt. He's standing at his own 10-yard line, and a flag. We've got to delay a game on the Rams, and Weiskell.
You know, Gavin Jackson was on the punt the last time that the Rams punted the ball. We've seen him run off the field, injured a little bit, just catching his breath. And so they had a hard time trying to figure out who was going to come in and take his place. Lose 5 yards on the delay of game, but it shouldn't hurt them too much. Not here on the punt. You're punting anyway.
Weiskell, the clean handle, almost blocked by John Schultz. And Blair falling to the ground, but able to haul in that punt. That's a dangerous play right there. There are 3 Rams in the area, but Blair able to bring it in. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line for Camas.
He's got a lot of confidence in his hands, that's for sure. To go up there and make that play right there, surrounded by Rams. They're all just watching him catch the ball.
Oh, he's had some work with his hands. His brother Jake, the quarterback, or a quarterback at Oregon State. So he's had a couple seasons working with his brother.
And the younger brother always has to be the receiver.
Right.
You always got to go run the balls down from your older brother. I have an older brother, so I know what I'm talking about.
Well,
although
the Blair family, incredibly athletic. Zach Blair actually going to Oregon State on a baseball scholarship when he graduates from Camas High School. Empty backfield for Taylor Yanni. And it's a sweep. Prowse met up with a couple of Rams and brought down by number 54, Andrew Thinnell.
Bradley Prowse with the carry. Andrew Thinnell the tackle.
Another flag.
So there's a penalty flag on the play.
Face mask.
And a face mask called.
So it looked like it wasn't the malicious face mask. Looks like more so a hand to the face.
The incidental face contact.
Right, 5 yards.
Stark, the tight end for the Papermakers. Part of that trips formation on the near side. So 1st and 2 from the 33-yard line. Yanni back to pass, rolling out to his left. A high ball left. An opening for his receiver to try to come up and get it. Nathan Criddle cannot come back to get that one on the short throw from Yanni. It'll be 2nd and 2.
That's a hard pass to make. Running away from your throwing arm and running to your left, rolling out to your left. With big Riley Williams coming in there with his big 6'7" arms up, and he's going to try to throw across his body 25 yards down the field. That's a tough play.
You know, we keep talking about Riley Williams and his height, and it's all true. 6'7", 235, and this young man is a plethora of scholarships, 12 of them to be exact, and 8 of them come from the Pac-12.
He's got some good choices right there.
And the scary part is he's still got another season to go. He's only a junior.
Wow. Yeah, this guy, he's got big things written all over him. That's again, you can't teach height. We all know that. And when you have that height and you have the ability that he has a nice future. Hopefully, I would love to see him sign with the Ducks. I do have a little bit of allegiance to the Ducks. They have some of my tuition dollars down there.
Don't you hate when that happens? And the high pass intended for Blair, out of bounds. Gianni missing on that throw, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
again, moving the pocket to his left. So this is something that Hathaway must really believe that they can do, or they're setting something up for later, but he keeps moving his pocket to the left and having him throw across his body, and the Rams defense is not letting that play work.
Trips left for the Papermakers. John Schultz in the backfield with Yanni. Screen set up and tipped and intercepted. And it's going to be a pick six for the Rams defense. Solomon McDaniel able to bring it in off the tip by Amarian Winston, who came in off the edge on the screen pass. And it's 13-0 now for the Rams after the pick six.
Wow, that's big right there. Amarian Winston, again, another big-time player, another weapon that we talked about, and he's showing it off on the defensive end. Gets his hands up. When you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up, make it tough for him to throw it, gets the tip, and then everybody does the tip drill. Turns into pick six right there.
Amarian Winston, 6'4", 240 pounds. You know, he's going up against Taylor Yanni, 5'11". Got the wingspan, got the paw on it, able to turn it into a turnover. And here we thought the offense was going to be scoring points for the Rams. It's been special teams and defense so far that's got them out to this 13-0 lead.
Right. And you know, Brian, I like to watch the sideline. And when the defensive players score, you think it is a party over there. They are all celebrating. Because, you know, how often do you get to score? You're a defensive player, you're a linebacker. You
Not only that,
pick six.
I'm pretty sure that was a defensive lineman out there. So, you know, the big man living the dream getting that pick six.
Dream. I know exactly the feeling. I scored one touchdown in my high school career, and that was an interception. I was a linebacker. And you're over on the sideline. The game could end right now.
Yeah.
The game could end right now. I have a touchdown. I don't know what the rest of you guys are talking about. Okay, we're game over.
I just had the game of my life right there.
Right. A pick six, say what?
And it was Solomon McDaniel coming in on a blitz from the linebacker position. So Weisskoll in for the extra point. Hit the first one earlier. And he will hit the extra point here, and it's a 14-0 lead for Central Catholic over Camas. They're trying to do something that hasn't been done in a decade and be an Oregon school to beat Camas. Right now they've got a good chance of doing it. They lead 14-0.
Right, and defense is the key right now. You know, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, defense and special teams, but those are big parts of the game. Those are, you know, the game is 3 parts, and you'll hear coaches talk about that all the time, offense, defense, and special teams. And this is where the Rams are really taking over this game.
I don't know if you can hear it right now, but Jarius Phillips, number 44 for the Papermakers right now, going up and down his sideline, yelling at his guys. It's only 14 points. It's not the end of the world. It's very reasonable to come back, but the offense is going to need to get things going.
Yeah. They definitely will. And the way that the Rams defense are playing, they're not ready to give up anything. They're not ready to allow the Papermakers to get something going. But the Rams scored on special teams. Maybe the Papermakers can get themselves back in it.
We were
We're
talking about the offensive lineman Noah Christensen coming up and protecting his quarterback Taylor Yanni when he got hit out of bounds. Right now he's next to him on the sideline trying to pick up his quarterback after that pick six. Yanni, a junior for this Camas squad. Weisskoll really gets his boot into this one. Blair not ready for it, and he'll field that one in the end zone for a touchback.
You know, I'm going to go back to what you were just talking about, Noah Christensen coming over, trying to pick up his quarterback and get him going. When we talked to Coach Hathaway at the beginning of the game, or in the pregame, he talked about senior leadership. And I can guarantee you, Noah Christensen is a senior.
He is.
He is a senior. That's that senior leadership that he's talking about. And that's the type of stuff that'll keep you in games like this. So we'll see. But that's that leadership that both coaches talk about having and being very proud of.
Well, the last time the Rams opened up at Pioneer Stadium was in 2013 against Grant. The Rams had to play here because Hillsboro Hops had made the playoffs, so Hillsboro Stadium was off limits. The jet sweep for Blair. He's going to cut it back to the other side. Beats Amarian Winston. He's got some open field. Strider Todd Fields will bring him down at the Ram 47-yard line, and there's that first big play. You had one down the sideline for a couple of yards, but a big play right here by Zach Blair, cutting it back from the outside, back inside, and that'll be a first down now for the Papermakers.
Cutting it back, that's exactly what happened, and you got to have some defensive integrity on your lanes, and he found a seam, got back through there, and made a big play. Just what the Papermakers needed.
Yanni now rolling out to his right. He's going up
There
for
you
Connor
go.
Murphy, and I think that was picked off. No, lands on the turf, but Jordan King going up, attacking the ball at its high point, almost bringing it down over Connor Murphy. It'll be 2nd and 10. And there is a flag on the field at about the 39-yard line. And you have to wonder, could that possibly be defensive holding?
I think it's an ineligible man downfield.
Wasn't
The lineman may
wow,
have
that was
got
really
them
that far
signals
down
crossed.
the field.
Right.
Yeah, from the 47-yard line, I mean, that was 8 yards down the field.
I think the lineman got his signals crossed. He thought it was a run. Clearly must have thought it was a run. He took off run blocking, but it was a pass.
So 1st and 16.
Jordan King saw that ball in the air and thought that he was the receiver. He thought that he was intended for him.
Trips left for Camas. Pistol formation. Yanni, the wide receiver screen to Zach Blair, and Zach Grisham breaking that play up in the backfield. Couldn't even get started for the Papermakers. It'll be 2nd down.
He read that play right from the start. I think that's one of those, again, film study right there. He knew that play.
Blair bringing that pass in, so
Well, they called it a completion.
that'll be a loss of yards.
So they
lose
called
about
it a
4 yards. It'll be
completion.
2nd and 20 now.
That's interesting. If they called it a completion, then I would have thought they would have called it a fumble. But we'll take it.
Another screen to Blair on the right side. Trying to spin away from one defender. Brought down by Salon Sanders. And it looks like Solomon McDaniel was in there initially making a play.
And about 3 other Ram defenders came over there, too. There was a meeting at the ball carrier.
It'll be 3rd and 21 at Camas' own 40-yard line.
We talked about it, that the penalties. You know, penalties will hurt you. You know, after a big momentum play like this, now it's 2nd down, and then they get the ineligible man downfield. They go backwards. A nice play by Zach Grisham in the backfield, push you back a little bit more.
And a timeout called by Camas with 43 seconds left here in the 2nd quarter.
Timeout, Camas.
Well, it's 2 sides to the story right now for Camas. You're thrilled defensively because you've been able to stop this Central Catholic offense, but offensively, though, they've been sluggish, unable to really get anything going. They had that big play we just saw moments ago by Zach Blair, but outside of that, they really have had a hard time getting chunk plays of even 4 or 5 yards at a time.
Right. Well, like we said, you know, the game has been dictated by the line of scrimmage, and right now the Rams are winning that battle. And when Yanni has not had a lot of time to be back there to scan the field or to find even his second option on receivers. And so when you don't have a lot of time back there, it sort of limits your play calling. All the runs up the middle, they had Mael Jones and his teammates have been stuffing those. So it's just real tough for the Papermakers to find something that actually is working consistently.
Well, Central Catholic's defense has certainly stepped up in the last couple of seasons. During their state title run back in 2019, they allowed 20.1 points per game. As McDaniel and it looked like Amarian Winston making the tackle in the backfield, forcing 4th down. But as I was saying, during that abbreviated spring season, they went from 20.1 points down to 13.2. I mean, a full 7-point difference from 2019's defense to 2020's defense. And right now, they're shutting out the Camas Papermakers.
Yeah, Coach Pine has to be happy, extremely happy with his defense at this point.
I thought we had a possible timeout called, and there it is. Camas was trying to get an extra man out on the field. They only had 10, And running out right now is Bradley Prowse.
And Steve Pine, you know, again, this is the strategy of the game. It's 14 seconds left, 4th down. The clock could continue to run, but he's going to call his timeout and make them punt the ball. We know that things happen on the punt returns. It could be a bad snap. It could be a bunch of things that happen right here. And you got the electrifying sophomore back here. Get his hands on the ball, could turn this into points.
Timmy Mitchell standing at his own 23-yard line. As we've got Matthew Gerardo back to punt again for Camas. And this type of football game reminds me of just classic Big Ten football. Punt after punt right now.
Does that mean it's good football, Big Ten?
It's hard-nosed football.
You must be from the Big Ten. Uh-oh.
Oh, Mitchell trying to get it on the run. The ball is loose, and it looks like the Papermakers have it at the 35-yard line. And the referee saying possession, Camas. The sophomore Timmy Mitchell trying to make the catch of the punt on the run off of his hands. And the Papermakers making ground as they flip the field. Almost 25 yards on that punt for themselves. They snap that one back at their own 40-yard line. Now they're at the 35-yard line. It'll be trips right for Camas. Jarius Phillips, the running back, lined up on the right side of Taylor Yanni.
A lot of confusion over there on the Rams side of the field. Mitchell comes out late. They don't know if they have enough guys on the field. Guys are running all over the place. This little timeout right here really helped them to get organized. But Mitchell's trying to make a play back there. You can't be mad at him. You want him to make a play, but
Yanni rolls to his right, a deep pass into the end zone, overthrows his receiver, intended for Connor Murphy. And 22 seconds left on the clock. It'll be 2nd and 10. And after that miscue on special teams, you don't want to fall asleep if you're the Rams on defense with only 22 seconds left. You don't want to give up a gimmick play. Tight end on the left side. Blair in motion. It's a throwback screen, stiffed out by number 21. Gavin Jackson read it the whole way. A tight end screen intended for Sam Stark. And 6 seconds left now on the clock.
You know, in football locker rooms, you hear a lot of coaches, you hear say, do your job, do your job. Right there, that was Gavin Jackson's job. A lot of times you get caught up and start running after the quarterback, or you start going with the flow of the play, and the flow took you to the right side of the field, but he stayed on his side of the field, did his job, and was able to make that play. I don't know if he doesn't make that play, there's a lot of room for big yardage right there. So you got to give Gavin Jackson a lot of credit for
recognizing that play early on. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, the Rams trying to get a season opening win here at Pioneer Memorial Stadium. That'd be the first time that they opened up the season and got a win here since 2013.
Is this the Hail Mary right now? You think this is just lined up, throw the ball deep, see what can happen?
If you're a Rams fan, back in 2013, came with a state title. All streaks. Yanni on the outside, and Strider Todd Fields with the interception. He'll step out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Doesn't matter, though. That'll be the end of the first half. So Taylor Yanni will end the first half with an interception. It's 14-0. Central Catholic leads, and it started off with the very first play. First kickoff here in the 2021 season, brought back by Strider Todd Fields, 99 yards for a touchdown. And since then, it's been all defense for the most part. The Papermakers are keeping the Stars in check for the Rams, and meanwhile, the Rams' defensive line has just dominated the front seven defensively, and they ended up getting a pick six off of a screen pass that was tipped by Marion Winston, and that's how the Rams have their 14-0 lead right now. But James, what did you see in that first half from both teams?
Well, like you mentioned, I've seen just good defense, good solid defense. Game plan we talked about at the beginning of the year, beginning of the game. Steve Pine wanted to control the quarterback, Yanni. They were able to do that. The Papermakers have been able to shut down the big plays that we are so accustomed to seeing from the Rams. And so it's just really been good defense on both sides of the ball. You know, I know both coaches are going to go in and try to make some adjustments. They're going to be happy with their defense. They're going to try to make some adjustments on offense. But when you come across two powerhouse teams like this, again, the defense, it does not surprise me that this is a great defensive battle at this time.
As James brought us, I'm Brian Slike. It's currently a 14-0 lead for the number 2 team in the state of Oregon over the number 17 ranked team in the state of Washington, Central Catholic over Camas. It's halftime, and we'll be right back with the second half. Welcome back into Pioneer Memorial Stadium here in Oregon City, Oregon. Brian Slike and James brought us with your call. It's a 14-0 lead for the Central Catholic Rams. And offensively for both sides, not much to talk about stat-wise. Taylor Yanni for the Camas Papermakers, 7 for 17 in the first half for 19 yards with a couple of interceptions. And their leading rushers, Zach Blair, their slot receiver, 1 rush for 33 yards. Along with Jarius Phillips, who had 4 carries for 8 yards. For Central Catholic, it was Crew Newman in the first half, 7 of 12 for 103 yards, a decent output from him, and then rushing the ball, 7 carries, 24 yards. The leading receiver, though, is Blake Anderson, who ended up with that 44-yard reception in the first quarter. So offensively, though, not much really going for both sides. What type of tweaks or changes would you make here in the second half?
Well, when you read off those stats, you can see that there's no big plays. You know, there's not very many big plays. And so I would think that both teams, I know they like to sort of control the ball, but at some point you're going to have to try to push the ball downfield. So I would not be surprised if I seen more chunk plays or the opportunity for more chunk plays being had in this second half. It's hard to sustain a drive. It's hard to sustain a drive against both of these defenses. So you might want to try to take some home run swings and see what you can get.
Those stats were courtesy of Scorebook Live. There will be a story both on Scorebook Live Washington and Oregon post-game. So we're about ready here to start the second half. Asher Weiskell kicking off. And back to receive that kick is Zach Blair and number 81, Connor Limnell. Last time Central Catholic started out their season here at Pioneer Memorial Stadium, they ended up with a state title at the end of the season in 2013. And you can bet that the Rams would love to have their season end with that. And it starts with a victory here tonight as Zach Blair takes the opening kickoff of the second half for a touchback.
You can't underestimate the importance of that. You know, just kicking the ball into the end zone, no opportunity for a run back. We talk about, big plays happening, and we've seen the biggest play of the day start off on the kickoff, 100-yard kickoff return. So when you can put that ball in the end zone and force the team to start at the 25 or the 20, then that's a big advantage.
Well, Marion Winston played a factor. He may not have made a whole bunch of tackles, but he had the big play on the screen pass that resulted in the pick 6, and he's just been a presence on the edge, keeping Taylor Yanni on his toes. The shotgun pass from Yanni, a deep one, and out of the reaches of Zach Blair, out of bounds. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
A chunk play. You know, what we talked about a few minutes ago. Hey, let's see. Let's see if we can open up, if you can open up the defense or loosen up the defense by going downfield. It's hard to sustain a drive against the Rams defense. And so you're going to have to take some home run hitters, but the Rams, like we said earlier, their secondary is ready for that.
Tight end down on the near side, 2 receivers as well. The handoff to John Schultz, and he is met up by Jordan King and by number 43, Gibson Coyle. Coyle has had himself a nice game tonight. Just seems to have a nose for the football. So they get some fresh bodies out on the field. One of those bodies, Joe Merlino, the nose tackle, now in. Play action, Yanni, another pass tipped by Marion Winston. Trying to get it to his tight end, Sam Stark. And Winston, with those paws off the edge, gets another tip. It'll be 4th and 7.
So when they get into 3rd and long, you can see that the Rams defense, Marion Winston in particular, is just pinning his ears back and just getting after the quarterback. The Papermakers trying to set up a screen, sort of use that momentum against them. But when you're that tall and that fast, it's hard to get anything off. Another good play by Marion Winston.
Timmy Mitchell back to receive the kick. And some hot water after his last punt return attempt ended in a fumble and a turnover. This time he'll let it bounce. That one almost went off of his foot. And now they're on it again. The Papermakers touch it, and their referee says it's Papermaker football. The sophomore, unsure of himself whether to field it on the fly or let it bounce near his foot. I don't think that's who it went off of. It was the defender who was coming up to block. And I think it might have gone off of him. I did not see what number it was.
24, I believe. But I would be interested. I'm like you. I'm not sure who they called that fumble on.
I honestly thought the first touch was John Schultz of the Papermakers. But they're saying it might have gone off of Ron Beaupre.
You know, that's one of those situations where the referee is on the sideline of the Papermakers, and when that play is materializing, all the Papermakers are yelling and screaming. The coaches are all pointing in their direction, and there's a little bit of peer pressure right there.
Yeah.
The referee has to make a decision. Do I want these guys mad at me in my ear the whole time? I'm not completely sure that ball actually hit a Ram player.
I think it was close, and I think you've had the right eye on it, but either way, turnover as Gibson Coyle is getting stretched out on the field. Will now head to his own sideline, and the Papermakers, with a fresh set of downs, will take over in Rams territory. This will be the second time they've done that tonight, and the second time they start at the Rams' 47-yard line. Trips left in bunches. A pass trying to hit Thorkelson, and they got him on the back shoulder throw. Mitchell will tackle him at the 30-yard line, and a pickup of about 15 yards, close to it. And a first down for Camas. And those have been few and far between tonight.
It was a nice back shoulder throw. Mitchell had that inside coverage, that inside leverage, and he threw it to the back shoulder where he could only make the play, and he made the play.
Trips right, it's Murphy, Stark, and Blair. The handoff to number 12, Luke Jamison. Got through a couple of defenders. He's carrying those bodies forward, and he'll be brought down at the 18-yard line. Winston in on the tackle along with Caden Shell. And that'll give Camas a first down here. First and 10 from the 18-yard line. This is, without a doubt, the best drive that the Papermakers have put together so far.
10 guys on the field by the Rams.
Yanni, the throw to the end zone and out of the reach of his receiver, and Mark Thorkelson. And James, I think you're right on that one. Only 10 defenders out on the field for the Rams on that last play.
They dodged the bullet right there.
It'll be trips right formation again for the Papermakers. Sam Stark, the tight end on the left side. Murphy, Thorkelson, and Blair. It'll be a run to the left side to Jamison. Gets through a couple of other defenders, rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling down to the 10-yard line.
Jamison with the carry.
They're saying he got down to the 9-yard line.
And Winston made the tackle.
And looks to be 2nd and 1. Correction, 3rd and 1.
The Papermakers have all the momentum. In high school football and high school sports, a lot of the game is dictated by momentum. And right now, the Papermakers have that momentum.
Jamison getting another handoff up the middle.
Jamison in the line. Andrew Tinnell, the lead tackle.
Tackled by Andrew Tinnell and Maddox Carpenter.
The Rams' front line has been pretty much dominating the whole game, and this is when they really need to stand up right here and make a big stop. It's going to...
Blair has it. It's a sweep onto the outside, trying to find an opening, cuts it back in, and he's in the end zone. A flag now out on the field. But at the moment, Camas has scored a touchdown. They're on the scoreboard. And
usually when a guy cuts back and there's a flag, it's a lot of block in the back, you know, because there's a
changing directions
yes,
on him.
exactly. You're not anticipating that to happen.
And an absolute soul crusher of a play. It looks like it is on Camas, and that ball will be marked back. So you were first and goal, it looked like, at about the 6-yard line. Now let's see where they mark them at, and it'll be the 12-yard line.
Camas penalized for the illegal block in the back.
So an illegal
Big
block in the
break
back.
for the big break for the Rams.
Yanni's going for the end zone. He's going for Thorkelson, and he can't get to it. Thorkelson was backing up to the ball, and he probably could have kept running towards the corner a bit longer there. Instead, broke stride and started to backpedal, and it got out of reach.
Yeah, just keep running. Quarterback is going to tell him just keep running, but that's good defense. That's great defense right there again. And it's, the cornerback position is hard to play at any level. And Mitchell's out here on an island, and he's making it difficult for the receiver to make plays.
Yanni 1 for 5 here in the second half. Another fade route. This one intended for Zach Blair, and Zach Grisham there to stop the play. And this Papermakers sideline is upset with that one. They wanted a defensive pass interference call.
Yeah, well, you know what? I want a Big Mac with cheese right now. You know,
off the initial look, it just looked like a couple of players going for a ball. I did not see anything off of first look.
You know, and down by the goal line, there's always a little bit more contact. It gets a little bit more physical.
Third down. Third and goal now for the Papermakers from the 12-yard line. And this is 4-down territory. You have to try to score a touchdown with how this Rams defense has been playing. Yanni with pressure in his face from Williams. The high ball floated, and Blair tangled up with Grisham in the corner of the end zone, incomplete.
Man, these corners are doing their job. Whether you think they're getting held, whether you think there's pass interference, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks unless you're wearing stripes, and the officials are letting them play. Good defense. And once again, quarterback is getting up off his back, pressure in his face. He's got to throw the ball over Riley Williams into the corner of the end zone. Man, that's a tough play for any quarterback.
That ball just hung up in the air, and now they're going to go for a field goal. Matthew Gerardo, the 30-yard field goal attempt. The snap and the kick, it is up. And good for the Papermakers. They score their first points on the 2021 football season, and they now trail 14-3.
That's bittersweet right there if you're the Papermakers. It's sort of like kissing your sister, you know. It's a kiss, yeah. But, you know, you got 3 points. You had 7 on, or you had 6 on the board. They pulled it back for the holding or the block in the back. And now you settle for 3. You're happy that you're on the board, but you really feel like you missed an opportunity. You may have caught a break with the fumble that is in question right here at the 45-yard line.
But that's the thing, though. If it's in question, you really got to punch it in, get those points, and make it worth it. 3 points, yes, it's nice to get on the board, but it's still a 2-possession game.
Right. Still a 2-possession game. But you never want to go into the fourth quarter or even later in the third quarter with 0 points on the board. So, and they have the momentum right now. So, but we do know that the Rams have playmakers and they can take that momentum back.
Strider Todd Fields and Timmy Mitchell back to receive the kick from Matthew Gerardo. The Rams have not gotten onto the field yet here in this second half. Here's a ball to Strider Todd Fields from the goal line. He returned it all the way last time. This time he's brought down at about the 20-yard line.
Strider Todd Fields on the return.
You think there was any chance that he was going to let that ball go into the end zone?
Not at all. As John Schultz and Austin Forward-Lelio in on the tackle. And now it looks like Strider Todd Fields slow to get off the field. Cramp in his calf, it looks like.
Yeah. I would imagine that that's going to start taking place more in this second half. I wouldn't be surprised if we already saw one of the Rams cramp up on that.
Gibson Coyle on the punt.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the offense, are you trying to get more of the run game going now?
I'm
get
trying
the clock
to get
moving?
the ball to Riley Williams and Jordan King. that's my weapon at all times, my move at all times. Or get the ball in the hands.
There's Hardman. He's breaking away from 3 or 4 different tacklers. And brought down at the 34-yard line by Luke Jamison. But not before the first down.
Just like I was saying, get the ball to Jacob Hardman. That's a nice run. But, you know, establishing the run, there's something that both teams want to do, and right there, that's a great start.
Blake Anderson and Zach Grisham are the receivers on the near side. Jordan King up on the far side. Hand off to Hardman again, up the middle, broke away from 2 tackles. He's met by number 10, Nathan Criddle. And then a group of Papermakers will hold him up at about the 41-yard line. It'll be second down.
The referee took a long time to blow that whistle. I mean, the play has stopped, the momentum has stopped, but they was getting a few extra shots in on there on Hardman. Now you get this one-on-one coverage. Let's see, do you play action or do you stay with that run?
Williams and King on the near side. High snap to Crew Newman. Steps back. Now he's going to roll to his left. Running out of trouble and left-handed, threw it out of bounds. A flag in the backfield. And that's never a good sign.
Crew Newman's pass is incomplete. There is a penalty flag on the play.
And Newman looking like he was running for his life.
Sort of had
and
to
a hold will be called on Central Catholic.
Sort of had the makings of a quarterback draw. You know, it looked like he sort of stepped back and was immediately going to take off running, but the lane closed, and then he just was trying to improvise. Like you said, a left-hand hook shot out of bounds just to sort of save his life. But, man, you're talking about those penalties that hurt you.
Trips right for the Rams. Gavin Jackson in the backfield with Newman. Shotgun pass. Newman, the deep pass. The Strider Todd Fields. He's putting on the burners. Blair can't knock it down. Touchdown, Rams.
Newman's pass is complete to Strider Todd
No flags out on the field, and
Touchdown.
Strider Todd Fields getting his second touchdown on the night. A huge play, and the pass from Newman, and it's a 20-3 lead now for Central Catholic.
Strider Todd Fields, man, what a name. I mean, you see that as soon as he caught that ball, he was in stride and went on down the field for a 6. This is a big game for him right now, and when they needed him most, you know, he stepped up. Great throw. Newman stood in the pocket and hit him right in stride. Great play.
Asher Weiskol trying to make it 21-3. The kick is up and good. So 3 touchdowns now, and it's official. All 3 phases of the game have been scored by Central Catholic. Special teams to open up the game, a defensive touchdown on a pick 6, and now Strider Todd Fields with a long touchdown catch from Crew Newman.
You know, big plays. Big plays. You're going to chunk plays. Here in this second half, we've seen in the first half how hard it was to grind out even 10 yards. There was enough 3 and outs. It was hard to grind out any type of a drive. Both teams are now trying to open up the game a little bit, and you can see right there the Rams struck on a big chunk play. Strider Todd Fields having a great day.
Central Catholic trying to be the first Oregon team to beat Camas in the past decade, and right now they've got a nice lead, 21-3, as we get ready for the kickoff. And they barely took 90 seconds off the clock on that drive.
That's the big play offense that we thought we might see in the earlier parts of the game. So you can see they have weapons on all levels of the game, all facets of the game, the special teams, defense, and offense. And the Papermakers had a lot of momentum. You know, they had just got a fumble recovery. They went down, thought they had a touchdown, turned it into 3, and then here's a great answer by the Rams.
You talked about the fatigue factor earlier in the game. These kids playing their first game of the season. It's Blair, a nice return here. Eventually he gets wrapped up by Cade Galen, who will make the tackle at the 34-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Papermakers. But I just saw John Schultz down here stretching out his calf, making sure he wasn't cramping up on the Papermakers sideline. We've already seen a couple of players for the Rams cramp up, and that fatigue factor starting to roll in here.
You can practice all you want, but there's nothing like a game. You can't simulate a game at practice. And this is what these guys are experiencing right here. First game against good opponents. There's going to be a lot of cramping and a lot of getting tired, a lot of fatigue.
Pistol formation for the Papermakers. Hands it off to Schultz. And brought down by Mael Jones. The big man up front, 6'4", 340 pounds, bowled his way through that offensive line to make the tackle.
Yes, and you can see, as Shaquille O'Neal would say, it's great feet work. You know, he's getting in there. He's getting right past the lineman. No matter what side of the line he's lining up on, he's making big plays and causing havoc in the backfield.
Tight end down on the near side. Schultz will get the handoff on the outside. Williams doing a great job keeping him contained, making him bounce the ball back inside. Amarian Winston in on the tackle along with Timmy Mitchell. And now we have a Ram player down on the ground, number 54, Andrew Tennell. And it looks like he's just cramping up. Gibson Coyle helping him stretch out.
That's the one thing that as players, as athletes, we know how to do it in the training. We can help somebody stretch a calf, a cramp. And don't ask us to do anything else, stop a bloody nose or anything like that. No, but we can stretch out a cramp. And Riley Williams, right there, as a defensive end, you have your number one responsibility is to push everything back inside. Don't let him get outside. If you don't even have to make the tackle. Your job is just don't let anything get outside.
Yeah, don't let him break contain, and that's what he did right there.
That's exactly what he did. Great job right there, Riley Williams.
Two receivers on the far side, tight end down on the near side. Yanni throwing on 1st down, and he's got his tight end, Sam Stark, in the middle of the field. He's got one blocker, and Zach Grisham comes up, makes the tackle at the 20-yard line. There is a flag down back at the 39-yard line of the Papermakers. And that flag came out as soon as the ball was snapped. And Coach Hathaway not happy about it. We've got a false start and a big play negated right there on a penalty.
Hathaway is not going to be happy at all. And he can't be I won't say everybody, but a lot of big plays are being called back because of penalties.
Yeah, you had the touchdown on that last drive, and now you've got a big gain right there from Sam Stark. It's just a tight end crossing pattern. Nobody was with them and had the open field.
Nice throw right there by the quarterback, but just didn't count.
Instead, it'll be 3rd and 10.
Still, 3rd down.
The Ram cheerleaders were yelling, "You can't do that." It's high school football. You got to love it, man.
Easton McCarty, the slot receiver on the far side. Pass over the middle, brought in by number 10, Nathan Criddle. And Salon Sanders with the tackle. Great hands right there by Criddle with the defender draped on his back. Still able to bring in that pass.
Picked up the 1st down right there.
And that'll make it 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Criddle, the lone receiver on this side, and we'll have encroachment. Maddox Carpenter into the neutral zone.
Central Catholic penalized 5 yards for encroachment.
That's the first time we've seen this all day. Changing of the snap count. You know, I'm a big proponent of that at high school football. Make teenagers use their head, and you can get some easy yards off that throughout the game.
Yanni almost lost it on the fake handoff. And Riley Williams whipping him to the ground.
Riley Williams made the stop.
Whipping him to the ground. He did good just to hold on to that ball.
2nd and 3.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see a long toss.
Yanni finally with some time. The back shoulder throw too high for Sam Stark. And out of bounds over his head. And he had his man. Had he kept that pass low, he probably could have had that first down, or at least picked up a large chunk of yards right there. And that was one of the rare times that Yanni actually had time to throw back there.
And I don't think he realized how much time he had. He sort of got rid of that ball at a pace that he didn't need to get rid of. But again, when you're seeing ghosts out there, those things happen, because the Rams have been in the backfield all day.
McCarty in motion, swing pass to Jamison, and brought down. A loss on the play. Gavin Jackson making the tackle. And that's a loss of 2.
Gavin Jackson had a mission. He was going to tackle this guy if he caught the ball. When he looks at it in film, he may realize that, man, I could have had an interception. If he had looked up at that ball, he might have been able to get a pick, and that's nothing but greenery, pick 6. But he was determined to not let this guy get up the field. Great play. Sometimes you go for an interception and you end up missing the interception and the tackle. He was not going to miss that tackle.
Now DiGerardo, punt formation.
It's one of those moments where it's okay to play it safe because he made up with the play. And here's a punt, a flag already out on the snap at about the 50-yard line. And Strider Todd Fields is back to receive this punt. And he's got some opening on the far side. There's a flag all the way in the back. But Strider Todd Fields, the opening at the 30-yard line. Nobody within 10 yards of him, the 10-yard line. And in there for the touchdown on the punt return. And we have 3 separate flags out on the field right now, though. One flag on the near side at the 49-yard line, almost at the 50-yard line on the far side. Probably say they're almost the same penalty, you would think. And then I think there was a block in the back near the 12-yard line at the beginning of this punt return. But wow, Strider Todd Fields putting on a show tonight.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. How can I move the crowd? This is a highlight reel for Strider Todd Fields, and you can believe that this is going to be on his highlight film anyway. Nobody cares about these flags out here. Strider Todd Fields is, and it's interesting, Mitchell has been the punt returner for the whole game. Strider Todd Fields has been making big plays. Mitchell, a little bit of struggle back there at the punt return, but they move Strider Todd Fields, and you can see exactly what he can do when he touches the ball. But I believe they're going to bring this back and do this all over again. I haven't seen this much laundry since my college dorm days.
The 2 penalties may negate each other. It's not easy being a zebra.
No, it's not. And as coaches, you know, I'm a high school coach, high school basketball coach. And so you talk to the officials, and there's never been a time when they said, you know what, Coach, you're right. I'm going to give you that call. But it's just something that you have to do. You just want them to explain. I mean, what did you see? Did you really see that?
Well, sometimes you get in their ear once, and you almost plant a seed. So it's like maybe be more objective, not necessarily giving you a call, but think more objectively about it.
And sometimes you can talk. That's really what you're doing, and you're talking for the next call. And sometimes it does work for you. Let's see what they have. This guy. It's never a good sign when the referee comes over and has his hands up like that.
The shrug.
The shrug. Okay.
And it looks like we're going to repunt this whole thing. And Timmy Mitchell now back there to receive the punt.
Strider Todd Fields is on the sideline getting some air.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he can't keep running 100 yards. He's ran 300 yards already today.
And a 99-yard kick return to start this game, and then it was about a 60-plus yard touchdown reception and run.
The referee, just did all the signals. I think he was doing the signals. A lot of signals out there, a lot of flag calls, and he comes over. It looks like he's doing the Macarena. He's doing all types of hand signals and all that. He's probably a little tired right now, too, from making all those calls on that play right there.
Fans with the convenience of cashless, paperless, and free-sale ticketing options for all athletic home events.
Well, started out at about 80 degrees here at opening kickoff. Now we're sitting at a brisk 70 degrees. Clear skies, a perfect night for football to open up this 2021 season.
And I'm just happy to see the fans in the game. Last year there were very limited fans, you know, but people are here enjoying the game and getting to watch their kids play. This is what high school sports is about.
Mitchell should let this one bounce, and he'll field it off the hop, and he lost it off of his chest. The Papermakers might have another chance at recovering that ball, and they did. 3 turnovers now on special teams. Tough break for Timmy Mitchell. Thought he had the easy play off the hop, went off of his shoulder pads and bounced away from him.
Yes, that's the 3rd time he's back there. It's in his head right now. You know, but I give him credit because he's still trying to be a playmaker. He feels like I'm a playmaker and I'm going to keep coming. And, you know, it's a tough time for him right now. If I'm the Papermakers, I'm the type of guy that's going to try to go at him right now. But I
was going to say, yeah, defensively, I'm not saying he has a weak mind, but he's doubting himself, you would have to think. Yeah, you want to go after that guy right off the bat.
But I've seen this guy play before, and I know that you got to have a short memory. And I wouldn't be surprised if he made a big play coming up sometime soon.
Luke Jamison, the carry up the middle.
Luke Jamison
met by the defensive line for the Rams. Joe Merlino, Solomon McDaniel on the tackle, along with 62 Caden Shell.
You gotta love Mitchell's confidence, though.
2nd and 8, Blair in motion, the sweep pass. Trying to get away from one of the defenders, but Solon Sanders getting through some of the blockers to make that tackle for loss. It'll be 3rd down and about 9 as Sanders running off the field with a limp. Maybe twisted his ankle on that one. That's just the way that he was running.
I would guess a cramp once again.
Quickly motioned to get off the field, though. So it's now 3rd and 10 from the 16-yard line. Taylor Yanni, the 5'11" junior, trying to get the Papermakers in the end zone. Sam Stark gets through one defender and bumps his way into the end zone. There's only one problem. More laundry on the field. A flag at the 11-yard line.
Is complete to Sam Stark. There is a penalty flag on the play.
2nd time Stark has made a great catch and a big play offensively, only for it to come back. Tough break for Camas.
The same line judge is making that call over and over again, so you got to believe it's something that they're just not making the adjustment on. As soon as that ball is snapped, he has thrown that flag 3 times tonight. And you can be mad at him all you want, but you just have to make an adjustment.
Timeout called on the field. Camas will call their first timeout here in the 2nd half with 2:09 left to go in the 3rd quarter.
Sounds like the Camas coaching staff are not very happy with what's going on right now.
Well, it's a frustrating situation now. You've had 3 or 4 possessions start out on the Rams side of the field. 2 of them, within the 40-yard line, it seems like, off of the muff punts. And they're only able to turn in 3 points after, again, you mentioned it, they scored the touchdown and brought back because of an illegal block, and then another big play, and this one's brought back. The penalties starting to mount up. Camas only had 2 penalties in the first half, and they've already surpassed this here in the 3rd quarter alone.
Yeah, penalties in any sport, turnovers, and penalties are going to hurt you, you know. And here we are right now, and the Papermakers, when they check this film, they're going to really see, they're going to feel like if they do not win this game, they're going to feel like they lost this game instead of Central Catholic winning it. You just, again, penalties will hurt you, and they are really rearing their ugly head for the Papermakers.
I don't know if you just saw on that timeout just before we got this snap off, as Yanni gets it down, and a shoestring catch by Stark through one tackle. He's still in, the ball's loose on the floor. We'll see what the call is. Couple of players there, and no signal yet, and it'll stay with the Papermakers. So Sam Stark, a nice catch, but trying to bring the play a couple more yards, doing that extra work, fumbled it, and the Papermakers fortunate to jump right back on top of it. But what I was going to say before the end of the timeout, Mitchell, all loose, dancing with everything that's going on right now, and that's what you like to see. Short memory after the last few punts. Carrying to the right side, brought down at the 3-yard line.
You know, and sometimes you have to encourage yourself, and sometimes you start dancing, you're trying to get yourself back into the right game space or head space for this game, and I believe that's what he's doing. But we know he's a competitor. This defensive line here, they're going to have to stand up once again. They've done it all day long.
Jones just got into the game. Jamison stopped up front by that stout defensive line, and he stopped at the 2-yard line. Mael Jones just checked in, and his big body playing a factor right there, clogging up that hole.
This is a battle of wheels right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the Papermakers go right back up the middle. Let's try this again.
Jamison has had some nice runs up the middle tonight. Criddle and Murphy, the receivers on the near side. Jamison, the back with Yanni. A handoff up the middle, and it looks like he barreled his way in. Touchdown for Camas.
Touchdown, Camas.
They now trail 21-9 with 29 seconds left here in the third quarter. And it must be nice to finally get that weight off your back, finally get it into the end zone.
And I'm sure after they scored, I'm sure everybody on the sideline was looking for a flag.
I know I was.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Bad snap, Gerardo, a fire play for the kicker, throws it up in the end zone, and Mitchell with the interception on the 2-point conversion. That was not meant to be, so it'll remain 21-9. Not everything can go right for you.
No.
Rams 29-21.
And again, and Mitchell's in there, and he makes that play. That should give him a little bit more confidence. I'd be interesting to see what they do on this kickoff return. We know the potential that Mitchell has, but we also see the struggles that he's had today. So we'll see if he's back there. I'm sure Strider, Todd Fields will be back, but I would also be surprised if the Papermakers kick the ball deep. They capitalize on that turnover, you know. The Rams have been giving them chances, but their defense has been standing up. And this time, the defense could do all that they could do, but at some point, you're going to break. And the Papermakers were able to put the ball in. Mitchell is back there again in the kickoffs. Back deep.
A lot of confidence from Coach Pine putting him back out there.
And
Todd Fields back to receive the kick as well.
In these situations, you have to show that you do have confidence in your guy. He's a sophomore. You can't start losing confidence in him now. This is as much for future as it is for right now.
Receives a kick here at the 1. Mitchell brings it to the outside. He's got a couple blockers in front of him. He's got Riley Williams and Strider Todd Fields, and eventually brought down at the 42-yard line. Jackson Morris in on the tackle. And that's how you get back up on your horse right there if you're Timmy Mitchell.
That's how you do it. That's why Coach Pine left him in the game. Again, you stay with your guys. If he's one of your guys, you stay with him, and you let him work through these troubles. He will learn. And then again, we talked about it earlier with Crew Newman. That's in-game growth right there. You know, give me the ball. Give me the ball. Okay, I fumbled it. I don't care. Give me the ball again. And he gets it, puts the ball in great field position for his teammates.
Injured Papermaker player on the field, far side at about the 48-yard line. Unable to make out what number it is. The training staff looking at the injured player. But there's 17 seconds left here in the third quarter. Rams offense seems to have sort of gotten going. They've only had one possession, but it ended in a long touchdown pass to Strider Todd Fields. Here they are taking their second possession here. And how do you think the offense is going to progress here? Now that Camas has scored a touchdown, is there any added pressure you think to the offense to try to produce?
No. You know, the last time that that Camas had scored, it was a field goal, but the Rams came right back and moved the ball back down the field and scored. And so they're feeling real good about this. You scored, and we can come down here and score. I don't think there's any extra pressure. Last possession, they were able to get the run going. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out trying to get that, establish the run, and then do something over the top again. But I think they're feeling really pretty good about their position right now.
Tough break for the Papermakers as their punter slash kicker, Matthew Gerardo, was the injured player, but he had some jogging stride right there coming off the field, but now taking his time.
He was out there trying to make a play.
Yeah, trying to make the tackle on that one.
Trying to make the tackle. Hey, as a kicker, you're feeling like, look, guys, I kick, you guys tackle. Oh.
Handoff, sweet play on the far side. A run by Hardman. Pickup of only 1 yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
I think Coach Pine seen something he liked in that sort of sweet play right there. And did you tell me that he's calling the plays?
Yeah, Coach Pine taking over the offensive play calling duties this year, the first time in 10 years for him. So this is breaking off the rush for him here, and his first game back calling the plays. The high snap. Oh, great juke move by Hardman to the outside, and eventually pushed out of bounds. Great move right there, but a flag down at the 44-yard line.
Hard him on the ball carrier. Connor Murphy drove him out of bounds. There is a penalty flag on the play.
And that'll go on the Rams. One thing I love about Coach Pine, you notice it, he's rocking the classic sweater vest. You don't see that very often now, especially on the football sidelines.
10 yards for
No, that's his style. That's his jam, as they say, you know. And if you notice, nobody else on his sideline wears that.
Nope.
And that's the 12th penalty for the Rams, 85 yards.
Newman dropping back to pass, stepping up, pass over the middle, and he's got Jordan King watching that one all the way in, making that catch look effortless. And that's why he's got those scholarships out there, 4 D1 scholarships right now to his name.
That's a Central Catholic.
And that is exactly why right there, you know. That's it's a great route. Like you said, he looked the ball all the way into his hands. It's a big play. His team needs him right there. Those are some of the attributes that if he was on the Madden game, he would be in the high school ranks. He would be having like a 99 or 98 on that.
So Central Catholic 11 penalties for 110 yards. And that's something that Coach Pine is definitely going to be trying to fix up here in the coming weeks. That's far too many penalties for his squad. As we get ready to start the fourth quarter here at the end of 3, it's 21-9 in favor of the Central Catholic Rams.
coaches are never satisfied. So when you come back, you may end up winning this football game, but you want to find something to continue getting better at. You got to come back and something that you can challenge your team at. When you look at the number of penalties that they've had, you can believe that he is going to be harping on that all week long, because as you progress, and your goal, everyone's goal is a state championship, and if you're going to win a state championship, you cannot continue hurting yourself with penalties.
Grisham and Todd Fields, the receivers on the near side. Hardman, the running back with Newman. Delayed handoff. Hardman sidesteps a couple of defenders, gets away, brought down by Luke Jamison and Bradley Prowse.
You know, I watched Riley Williams on that play, and he set up he made a great block. But I'm impressed with the fact that he is out here blocking. You know, and you get a guy with those type of talents. A lot of times you just want to catch the ball and you don't give yourself up for blocking. But he is an all-around player, and that's big. And there you're getting the ball.
And that pass incomplete off the hand of Williams. I believe that's only his first target on the night. First or second target. Jordan King on the night so far, 4 catches for 51 yards. Hardman's got 7 carries for 26 yards. And then Crew Newman from the pocket, 10 of 14 for 192 yards, 5 carries for 18 yards. So the sophomore having himself a decent game, even though the points aren't there right now for the Rams, but he's running this offense the way that they would like. And Gavin Jackson swallowed up in the backfield. Jamison, Prowse, and it looked like number 51, Anthony Duma, also in there on the tackle.
3rd and 5, you thought you might be able to catch the defense sleeping, but they weren't. They were wide awake. They were woke, and they stopped that play as soon as it got started. Here we go,
4 down territory. It'll be 4th and 9 from the 27-yard line.
Where's the king?
Anderson and Todd Fields, the receivers on the near side. Williams, the tight end on the far side, with King, the lone receiver, up top. Newman takes the ball. He's got an opening on the far side of the field. He's got a lead blocker. And pushed out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. And it was Solomon McDaniel leading the way, as Newman putting his hand on his back, pushing his lineman out in front of him. And that'll pick up the 4th down conversion. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line.
That's something you don't see much anymore. That's how they used to teach you to run back in my day. You know, get behind that blocker, put your hand in his back, hold his jersey, and that's exactly what Newman was doing. Let the big guy do the work. You get the yards, and you get the glory. Nice run by Newman.
Pistol formation. And a screen pass back to Williams, and he dropped that one on the ground. That was a nice setup, the play action over to Jacob Hardiman, and then came back for the tight end screen on the back side. Unfortunately, a low throw. Williams unable to bring it in. Right. 9:50 left in tonight's ball game. 21-9 lead for Central Catholic over Camas. Camas has not lost to an Oregon opponent in nearly 10 years. Central Catholic looking to end that streak tonight. It's Newman and the Rams offense knocking on the door, 2nd and 10. The pump fake, he's going for the corner to King, and the adjustment and the catch and the touchdown. Jordan King hauling that pass in. The 13-yard reception, able to get the separation from his defender, falling to the ground, making that catch. And the Rams now lead 27-9.
He's a good football player, bro.
He's pretty good.
He's a really good football player. It reminds me, when I watched him make that adjustment to the ball, I forgot that we watched this last year. He makes great adjustments to the ball. And it's something that I'm sure the scouts have seen, colleges have seen. Wherever that ball is, he's been able to make the right adjustments to put his hands on the ball, and if he gets his hands on the ball, he's pulling it in.
Lyskol with the extra point, and it's now 28-9. 19-point lead for the Rams. They're sitting pretty right now with that lead. With 9:43 left to go in tonight's game. And it's awfully quiet on the sideline here for Camas. Early on, when they were down 14-0, you saw a couple of their players going up and down the sideline, trying to encourage their teammates. And now there's nothing but silence for the most part.
Yeah. Every time they've gotten some momentum, the Rams have come back and answered back, you know. And so that will kill you on the sideline as far as the momentum. You know, you're trying to get something going, and you feel like you got something going, and then the Rams come back with a big play and a touchdown. It sort of demoralizes you. And I think that's probably what's happening to a few of these players on the side. I'm sure the coaching staff still has it in them, and the coaching staff is still trying to get them going. Because as a team, you believe that you still have time to make some things happen. But it's hard for teenagers to continue that mindset.
Lyskol will kick off for the Rams. Zach Blair is deep for Camas.
Newman now 10 of 17 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. King now with 62 yards. And the touchdown for him, stats courtesy of Scorebook Live. McCarty taking the kick deep at his own 1-yard line and taken out of midair and brought down to the ground by number 20, Cade Galen. Galen just coming in out of nowhere. McCarty trying to hop over one of his own players and taken out midair. Right now, this Rams team is just pinning their ears back, and they're going after everybody. I don't see them slowing down one bit.
No reason to right now.
2 receivers the near side. Pistol formation. And the chains are tangled up on the sideline for Camas, so that's our momentary timeout. John Schultz, the running back. Amarian Winston with the sack on Taylor Yanni. Coming in and helping out with that sack, number 55, Joe Merlino. But Winston coming off the edge. Looked like nobody even touched him initially.
And he destroyed the play. Had the quarterback handed the ball off to the running back, he was going to tackle him, but he pulled it back, and he was able to get the sack. He was going to destroy that play one way or another.
Winston, the verbal commit to Oregon. Yanni going up to the line, making adjustments. Drops back to pass, a strike to Connor Murphy in the middle of the field at the 29-yard line. Correction, he'll be at the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 5.
It's 3rd down.
Two receivers on the far side, Thorkelson and Blair. Tight end Stark, along with Murphy. The receivers on the near side. Pistol formation again for the Papermakers. The play action, tipped and incomplete. Gavin Jackson getting his hand on that one. And that has to be the 3rd or 4th pass we've seen tipped near the line of scrimmage against Taylor Yanni tonight.
Yeah, they are coming after him. And like we said, if you don't get after the quarterback, then you put your hands up, get your hands up, make it hard for him to see, make it hard for him to throw, and that's what they're doing.
So it'll be 4th and 5. And with the Papermakers trailing by 19, they have to go for it here in the 4th quarter with 8:04 left to play. Yanni dropping back, the pass over the middle and broken up by Jordan King, almost intercepted. by Zach Grisham, but it'll be a turnover on downs. They'll end up with the better field position anyways.
First and 10.
7:59 left to go in the fourth quarter. First and 10 from the 28-yard line now for the Rams.
You know, at 5'11" as listed, Taylor Yanni is having a hard time throwing over these taller Rams defenders. You know, we've seen Winston get his hands up and cause problems. We've seen Riley Williams doing the same thing. Now you see Gavin Jackson getting his hands up right there. That ball was tipped by Jordan, although it was in the backfield. Defenders are getting their hands on a lot of balls by Taylor Yanni. Now we got another quarterback. This is what Pine does. He finds opportunities to get his guys in the game, to get guys. This is why you can start Crew Newman in a big game like this as a sophomore and feel real confident. Now he's getting other guys minutes to play in this game.
Emerson Dennis, the quarterback, in now. The running back is Anthony Ryan.
Central Catholic.
It was Anthony Ryan.
It was Anthony Ryan, and now he will be subbed out as Gavin Jackson comes into the game. And a 5-yard penalty on the delay of game. It'll be first and 15 from the 33-yard line. Handoff to Jackson. Shakes off one tackler and then brought down near the line of scrimmage.
Gavin Jackson,
Brought down by Jack Hanley.
Luke Jamison, the first man for Camas.
Jackson seems to be cramping up as he stretches down. And Jackson will head to the sideline, and coming back out is Anthony Ryan. Todd Fields and Grisham are the receivers on the near side. Jordan King alone at the top of the screen. It's a pass from Dennis. Scrambling away, puts it up. The wounded Duck will end up out of bounds.
Emerson Dennis in a
It'll be third and 16.
For Jordan King, incomplete.
Tough play on the run for Emerson Dennis. So it'll be third and 16 on the 34-yard line for the senior. Trips right set up. Williams alone on the near side. And a big size advantage as he's going up against number 20, Ethan Uchi. Dennis looking right. He's running out of time. He's got a couple of defenders on him. He's scrambling away and just gets it out of his hand. A completion to his coach, but he gets out of the sack.
Or did he?
Are they calling him down? And it'll be fourth down.
Emerson Dennis,
And it looks they're going to call him down on a sack.
Well, then clock should be running. And actually, that being down is a much better situation for the Rams than allowing him to throw that ball away. You want the clock to keep running at this point.
Asher Weiskel in punt formation.
Weiskel back to punt. No Papermakers back to receive the punt. They're going to milk this clock for as long as they can. Oh, and a high snap. Weiskel smartly just falls on top of it, limits the damage, and the Papermakers will have first and 10 on the 20-yard line. And probably the last thing you would want right now for Central Catholic is a bad snap on the punt.
Right, and you can see that they had different guys in the game. They were giving guys giving different guys a look, an opportunity to get a feel for this big game. And I can tell you this, that on every sideline, there's assistant coaches who never feel like you should be getting other guys in the game at this point. There's always guys that are saying, no, let's go back with our guys. But coach wants to give guys an opportunity, and then you put yourself, a situation like this arises, and you come back with your guys and see if they can, hold the fort down.
Taylor Yanni back out there as the quarterback. New running back out there with him, Austin Ford Leo. Two receivers on the near side. High snap. And Yanni falling on top of it at the 31-yard line. And there's got to be butter on the ball.
Right. Was good for the Goose. There you go. That high snap right there. That you know, at some point you're just happy that you recovered it. But Marion Winston was in the backfield at that time too, so that play probably wasn't going to be very successful in any way, shape, or form. Anyway.
Taylor Yanni has not had much of a chance to throw tonight. I should say not much time to throw tonight. With the way this defensive line of the Rams have come after him. The play action screen to the outside to Criddle. Wrapped up and brought out of bounds. Tackle made by number 24, Roan Beaupre.
Roan Beaupre. I like that name.
Trips right with the tight end down. Criddle alone on the top of the screen. Third down. 3rd and 18 from the 28-yard line. The play action. Coyle in his face, but able to complete the passes. Yanni to Stark. And Stark falls forward to the 8-yard line, and a huge pickup on 3rd and 18 for Camas. And Zach Grisham now down on the turf. Looks like he needs to be stretched out because he's doing some cramping as well. But what a play right there by Yanni, rolling out to his right, and then you had Gibson Coyle pop up right in his face, but still able to deliver a strike to Sam Stark.
Right. That's the play. That's the type of play that Coach Pine was talking about earlier, before in the pregame. That's what he wanted to be able to stop. Yanni was be able to show his athleticism, keep his eyes down the field, and like you said, delivered a strike right there. Keep his team alive in this game.
28-9, just under 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go here in tonight's game. Touchdown and an extra point gets them back within 12.
Zach Grisham down, looks like he was getting stretched out for a cramp. He did a smart thing. He was about to get up, and then you try to get up and try to get yourself off the field, all the way across the field. The Camas could hike the ball, snap the ball, and get the play going, get that extra man on the field. So just stay down. He went back down and told the referee that he couldn't get up. They came, stretched him out. Smart play right there by the senior.
Tell you, they got to get some pickle juice in some of these boys. Relieve some of these cramps.
And coconut water as well.
That's true. That's one thing. I haven't seen the Camas players cramping up too much.
Right, that's right.
They had the starters had a full bottle of coconut water before the game started. Here's a rush by Jarius Phillips on the near side, brought down at the 4-yard line. Pickup of about 4 yards. 2nd and goal from the 4.
Coach was telling him, drink that coconut water. I don't care if you don't like it. I might have to try some coconut water.
Luke Jamison, now the running back with Taylor Yanni. Trips left, set up for the Papermakers. Tight end down on the right side. Jamison takes the handoff to the right side, over his tight end and into the end zone. Touchdown, Papermakers.
He's a big boy.
Now 28-15, and Luke Jamison, technically the 3rd running back on the depth chart, has really been their most effective runner. Using his big body, breaking through a few tackles, and on that particular run, able to punch it into the end zone.
Right. He's a big guy right there. He is, as you were mentioning earlier, not trying to break ankles, just break tackles, and that's exactly what he did.
Papermakers going for 2. Sam Stark, the tight end, on the left side. Criddle and Murphy, the receivers, on the near side. Jamison again, the running back. Blair in motion. A handoff to Jamison. The stretch, did he get it in? And the line judge says he did. The two-point conversion is good. And it's 28-17, an 11-point lead now for the Rams.
And there's that life in the sidelines that we thought they had lost a few minutes ago. Now the conversation comes, do we do an onside kick, coach? Or do you try to kick it long and just hope your defense can hold? The strategy comes back into the game after a big play, a big series like that.
So 4:36 left to go in the game. Camas, the 17th ranked team in the state of Washington, defending state champs from 2019. Since there were no state playoffs during the spring season. Meanwhile, Central Catholic, second ranked team in the state of Oregon. And they're trying to be the first Oregon State team to beat Camas in almost 10 years. And they're 4 minutes and 36 seconds away from doing so. Luke Jamison on the night, 8 rushes for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns. Taylor Yanni, the quarterback, 14 of 33 for 98 yards and 2 interceptions. Stats brought to you by Scorebook Live.
And a couple touchdowns called back.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. They left 3, almost 4 points up on the scoreboard because they had that first touchdown taken back. The onside kick brought in by number 20, Cade Galen. And so the Rams will take over 1st and 10 from the 46-yard line.
Cade Galen had one job, catch that ball, secure the ball. And then it turned into 2 jobs, and then save your life because those guys were coming. They were trying to jar that ball out of his hands and caught the onside kick and just get to the ground.
I was going to say, it looked like he just turtled as soon as he got it. And now with 4:33, the clock is not your friend if you're Camas. And you'd probably expect that Coach Pine running the ball, try to get some clock going. 2 timeouts left for Camas to try to stop the clock.
He still has Emerson Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis still the quarterback. The handoff to Hardiman. Hardiman getting up to about the 45-yard line of the Papermakers. They'll be short of the first down by a yard. It'll be 2nd and 1. And Hardiman has done a nice job in the backfield. That initial burst, he always seems to get away from those arm tackles.
I've been impressed with how hard he's running. He hits that hole hard, not a lot of indecisiveness. He sees that hole, he gets after it, picks up 7 or 8 yards.
Anderson and Grisham, the receivers on the near side. Jordan King, the receiver on the top of the screen. Hardiman, the running back, matched up with Emerson Dennis. The high snap, and Hardiman spins out of a tackle and then gets tripped up. Luke Jamison was the man who made the initial contact with Hardiman. And he got back to about the line of scrimmage, so 3rd and 1 at the 45-yard line.
Emerson Dennis, 6'3". Crew Newman, 5'11". That same high snap with Newman back there would have been another disastrous turnover for the Rams. He needed all 6'3" of himself to be able to catch that ball.
We're closing in on 3 minutes. The Rams need 1 yard to pick up a first down. Hardiman in the backfield, pistol formation, and the Papermakers blow up the offensive line and get a tackle in the backfield.
Jacob Hardiman tackled for a loss by Anthony
Tackle made by Anthony Duma. And that'll back it up from 3rd and 1 to about 4th and 7. And a timeout called by Camas with 2:36 left on the clock.
Camas.
You know, Coach Hathaway, I'm sure he would like to have that back. he was indecisive if he was going to call a timeout here, and he let basically 12 seconds run off the clock before he called that timeout. And if you're trying to make a comeback, all time is needed at this point in the game. But you mentioned the Rams coming out and just running the ball in that series, and that's exactly what they did. They may not have pushed the ball down the field, but they did just run some time off the clock. And at this point, you're just trying to get this clock, keep running, keep this clock running, and get up out of here with a victory.
2:36 left to go in the fourth quarter. 28-17 lead for Central Catholic. Taylor Yanni getting a couple of throws in before he has to go back into the game. Remember, he's 14 of 33 on the night with 2 interceptions and 98 yards. He just has not really had any consistent pocket to really throw from with how the defensive line for Central Catholic has blown up the front line for Camas.
Which was the #1 game plan of Coach Pine.
Central Catholic trying to open up the season with a win here at Pioneer Memorial Stadium. Be the first time since they did that in 2013, which ended in their first state title in over 60 years.
Fourth down.
And a timeout call by Central Catholic and Coach Pine.
So he's not very confident right now in his punting. The snap went over the last punter's head, the last possession is what really got Camas back in this game. And so here you are, 4th and 7 at the 49-yard line, and you still have your offense out on the field.
Pretty telling, not only that. Well, the other thing that's interesting to me right now is he still has Emerson Dennis out there instead of Crew Newman with the game as close as it is.
Shows he has a lot of confidence in Emerson Dennis. And it also shows just a little bit of something under the hood of his program. He keeps guys ready. You never know, and especially at the quarterback position, a lot of times you're one hit away from going to your backup QB. And in this case, your backup QB will have gotten some meaningful minutes in a big game. And that could, prove beneficial later on down the road.
Well, here we are, 2:36 left to go in the game. 4th and 7 from their own 49-yard line. Emerson Dennis with Hardiman to his right. King in motion. A pass to Williams, and he makes the completion at about the 33-yard line. A huge 4th down conversion. Connor Murphy gets credit with the tackle out of bounds. But Emerson Dennis, calm, cool, and collected right there on 4th and 8 and able to deliver that pass to Riley Williams.
Wow, how about that call? How about that call right there? 4th and 7, the game sort of in the balance right there. He hits Riley Williams right on stride. Big play call, great execution. With your backup QB, this is why he took over the play calling duties.
Hardiman, the run, gets away from one defender and brought down near the 30-yard line. Looked to be brought down by Holt Williams.
Holt Williams, the lead tackler for Camas.
And the clock continuing to tick down. 2:10 now here in the fourth quarter. Jordan King alone on the near side.
And let the clock drain all the way down, and no rush to snap the ball.
5 seconds now before the play clock. See from the back judge. Dennis, the snap. And falling to the ground is Hardiman.
Jacob Hardiman with the carry. Holt Williams, the tackle.
Williams ends up with the tackle. Brought down at 30-yard line. Pick up a 1. Just seemed to have lost his footing on that last play.
Trying to make a hop cut, but had he landed it, there was going to be some room for him. I've just really been impressed with how he's been running the football. Another weapon
Camas penalized 5 yards for face mask.
Face mask on the play on Camas, moves the ball forward 5 yards. Clock continues to run, 1:25 left in the game. 28-17 lead for Central Catholic. That's smart by Emerson Dennis, waiting for the arm to go up on that back judge before snapping the ball. Another high snap. This time he'll keep it. And brought down in the backfield by John Schultz. Not fooled on the fake handoff one bit. And Dennis will lose yards on that play. Brought down at his own 31, loss of 6.
Timeout, Camas.
And that is the 6th sack of the Camas for the Camas Papermakers.
Camas will take a timeout right here. That'll be their last one with 1:04 left in the game.
Dennis did a smart thing right there. There was an opportunity for him to try to get rid of that ball as he was going down to the ground, but he held on to it and just, take the sack. Although he didn't play until this fourth quarter today, you can see that this kid knows what he's doing out there.
Well, Dennis, former quarterback for this team, did not play in the spring season with them and then rejoined them in the fall. And it's kind of been a rotating door at the quarterback position because Luke Johnson was the team's spring season quarterback, threw for over 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 66% completion, but it's Crew Newman who came out as the starter here after the summer camp.
Yeah, so Pine has a lot of tools in his tool belt, and he continues to get them ready, continues to prepare them, and you can see the benefits of that right now.
And they've got the modified victory formation. And Emerson Dennis doing something I haven't seen in close to a decade. You just take the snap and don't necessarily take the knee. Back when I first started going to college football games, the school I would watch, they would take the snap and then they would walk back 5 yards and then make the defense come after you and then fall to the ground.
That'll make a defender mad right there.
No, absolutely. You could sense the frustration from the defense.
Indeed.
30 seconds left in tonight's contest. Central Catholic leading 28-17, and it looks like they will end that 10-year drought for the schools from Oregon, taking on Camas. Camas will take their first loss against an Oregon school in nearly 10 years as the final seconds.
They have to, that was fourth down, so the turnover on downs.
And they have to at least take a snap for Camas. And Coach Pine has to be thrilled with how his team has played tonight, especially the defense. Not only, listen, the 17 points is not necessarily on them. That defense played strong all night. They had a couple of turnovers that went against Central Catholic that set up perfectly for Camas. But this defense, you have to be thrilled with how they played. Ben did not break a lot tonight. And then offensively, you're still with the sophomore quarterback, still trying to get things going with him. But you saw some really nice things in what you mentioned, growth in game, and that's what you want to see out of the young arm. Yanni, the pass to Schultz on the screen. Schultz still fighting to stay alive, and he'll be brought down by number 42, Jeremiah Katsuda. 5 seconds left. Papermakers trying to get off one more play. 2, 1, and they are not going to get it off. That'll be it. Game 1 in the books. Central Catholic beats Camas High School 28-17 in their first victory on the season on what many are hoping for Central Catholic to be a lot more wins to come along the way.
Absolutely, and from what I've seen today, I think there are a lot more wins on the horizon. This is a well-coached football team. There's a lot of talent. There's great senior leadership on this team. I think they have all the tools to make a big push for the state championship.
Scoring recap on tonight's game for Central Catholic. Started out the best way you could possibly ask your season to start out, a 99-yard kick return by Strider Todd Fields, and then they also had a pick six, which went to Solomon McDaniel. And then a touchdown by Strider Todd Fields on a long catch and run from Crew Newman. Camas got on the board with a field goal, and they scored a touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Got one more thanks to a turnover on the near side on a muff punt. But it's the Rams victorious 28-17. I'm Brian Slike. That was James Bronis. And James, any final thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, I think we just saw two heavyweights come out for a tough battle. And we talked about it earlier. The defense was a little bit ahead of the offense, but as we've seen as the game progressed, both offenses got going. But the Rams are going to be a tough team to beat, and I'm just glad that we'll have the opportunity to watch them this season.
Camas will be taking on Clackamas next week at home at Camas. Meanwhile, Central Catholic on the road going up against David Douglas in their second matchup on the season. One more time, that was James Bronis. I'm Brian Slike. Thank you for tuning in to Ram TV for the first victory of the 2021 season.